Welcome back to Marvelous Chats, guys. We're going to bring our boys in. I'll let them introduce themselves. My name is Finto. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel and give us a like. Here we go. Let's welcome them. Gentlemen. Hello, hello.
Finto.
Hey, what's up, Finto?
How are we, guys? Happy
Finto.
Friday. How are
I
we?
like your lighting today. You look very crisp.
Ooh, thank you. I got the light on. I think it's because my background is purple, so maybe it kind of works a little better or something.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had it orange just to kind of simulate my camera. We're talking
I think it's
about
just
it
you.
now. It won't.
You're just beautiful.
And my camera won't autofocus.
Listen,
Hello?
it can't contain all of that beauty.
There it goes. There you go, baby.
That was annoying. Technical difficulties. Apologies for that. Guys, what's up? How are we? How was the week? I hope
The
everyone.
week was good, man. The new trailer for Hawkeye came out. You know, we got to rewatch the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's been a good week so far.
Yeah,
Oh
dude.
yeah. As far as MCU goes, great week. Like I'm gonna steal your quote, Finto. Looks like we're getting a 6 to 8 week long movie, Christmas movie special coming from MCU of Hawkeye.
Yeah, dude.
So
Like,
I'm excited about that.
I just played that trailer there, and yeah, it's a Christmas movie. You know,
And we're getting
on the
and
small
we're
screen.
getting Spider-Man in between and like before the last couple episodes come out.
I think
as
it's
well.
Yeah, it's between episodes 5 and 6, I believe. No Way Home comes on, and cheeky little rumor going around that apparently that week on Hawkeye is going to actually set place, like timeline wise, at the exact same time as the movie, and there's going to be a crossover of some sort or a mention of some sort. I think most likely what will happen is, because as far as I know, No Way Home takes place directly after the events of the post-credit scene in the second movie, so when JJ's on the big Titantron. So my guess is going to be that Clint will view that he'll see it on the news, and I think we'll kind of see it happen live, if that makes sense. And then, you know, the next day you'll go in and watch.
Do we have
Spider-Man
Rogue
movie.
One to thank for all of this? Is Rogue One the one that brought this back, or can you guys think of another movie that did this as beautifully, where they just tie the end of one thing into the beginning of another one? I can't think of anyone that did it as good as Rogue One. I mean, is there something else out there? I feel like ever since Rogue One did it, we've been seeing it a lot more, and I'm thankful for it.
I actually got to give props to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as ridiculous as that show was. They wrapped up season 2 with them finding the base on what was that, Sokovia or whatever, and then
And the next day,
the next day, Age of Ultron came out, and I just thought it was amazing, because that whole second season of that show, for them, their story was finding where the base was and where Loki's scepter was being held, and then the second they find it, it was like that was the end of the show, and it was like time to call the Avengers, and then boom, like Ultron started. I was just like, very intelligent. Very intelligent.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's the point I was trying to get to, is I think we have Rogue One to thank for this. I don't know if the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did that before them or not, but
Yeah, that would have been before Rogue One.
I don't know if anyone's done it like Rogue One did it. I think that's a question like I'd have to think about a lot.
Yeah.
There's so much, but like, you know,
But
Rogue
ever
One did it
since
like
then-
perfectly. But yeah, you might be right.
I love
only-
it. Go ahead.
My only reference was a video game. And that would be the transition from God of War 2 to God of War 3. Immediately going in after the end of the God of War 2 like ending, God of War 3 snaps right in. And
But
you're already into
I feel
the fray.
like that doesn't count, because you're literally going sequential from one title to another. The thing that I'm looking at here is kind of like, those are different movies, you know. It wasn't Rogue One and then going into Rogue 2, you know. It was like the end of Rogue One, it tied back into something that happened like 30 years ago, you know. So
Yeah.
that's what I thought was really cool. So I get what you're saying, but I really loved how like Rogue One, it just tied in a property that necessarily wasn't supposed to be directly linked like that. And
Right.
like you said, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did the very next day, Age of Ultron came out. And it looks like if Hawkeye does this right, there's two things they need from me this season. If what you said is true, they need to do that right, where they tie it in really well, and they need to have this very James Bond-esque. If this is like a James Bond, like kind of spy, like gadgets and, you know, cool stuff like that, I'm gonna be into it. If it's very like family friendly, like kid trope, like, oh, because we've already seen the scene where she crashes in front of him and he's like, okay. If it's that all the time, I think I'm going to be disappointed.
Some of the rumors I've heard, if they turn out to be true, which I think they are, I think it's going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Is there any cameos?
All I'll say is Vincent D'Onofrio, the guy who plays Kingpin on the Netflix shows, he's been liking nothing but tweets about people talking about him being on Hawkeye.
So is he in Hawkeye and Spider-Man, or just Hawkeye?
As far as I know, this is what I've heard, and I don't know how true this is. Again, this is just a rumor, so it's not an official leak or spoiler. But apparently, he will appear in Hawkeye. He's going to be the guy who is behind the Tracksuit Mafia. So I think what they're going to do with him in the MCU is he's going to take a very kind of comic book approach. He's kind of always in the background, and he's kind of pulling the strings of the underground and the crime scene, which is all I want to see. Like, and obviously I would love to see like him as a villain in Spider-Man 4, like him get onto the big screen. But yeah, I think for the next while he's going to be popping up in Disney Plus shows and just kind of pulling the strings in the background.
That'd be fun, man. You know, I really do think that guy played like one of the best Kingpins we've ever seen. You know, the guy's a fantastic actor. He's like one of the best ones. He's like one of the best character actors, I think, in Hollywood right now. So the MCU did decide to make that work and bring him in as Kingpin to the actual MCU proper. Like, we're all the better for it. If he shows up in any of the Spider-Man stuff, or they spin him off into the Disney Plus shows, I'm down for anything he's ready to do. Just, you know, I gotta be honest though, like, even though he's a great character, like the way they wrote him kind of in Daredevil got a little cringy at parts. So hopefully they get a little bit better writing for the character of Kingpin. But his performance is just outstanding, and I would love to see what they do with him.
He's a god tier actor, and I think that even if you have him kind of appear as a kind of mystery kind of back character who's just, you know, pulling the strings, I think that works so well. You don't even need to give him that much screen time, but you just always know, like, when shit's going down, you're like, this is Kingpin, you know? And I think it's just, he's in the shadows, and I think that works out so well. I gotta say, just a quick shout out to Alex there with the logo on the screen in the back. Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Figured I'd throw that up.
For anybody who might be listening on Spotify, one of our guys, Alex here, has 2 screens behind him, and one of these a fireplace, because that's our thing, and then the second is our logo, which looks great. Let's go.
Which, if you're not following on all platforms, even if you're watching it, make sure you give us the follow on all the other platforms that you use anyway while you're there. Help us out. Help us out along the way. We got this algorithm, and we're Elon Musk big braining it back here. We need your help on that side. That's your call to action for this video.
Yeah, like, YouTube is the hardest platform in the world to fucking try and crack. Like, you know, I've tried to put a bit of effort into it, and it's really, really tough. Like, you know, the algorithms are brutal. Trying to get like subscribers is crazy hard. Like, I started up a Instagram last week, already have over 100 followers on it. Like, you know, it's so much easier of a platform to try and build. YouTube is my Everest, bro. Like, I am genuinely out there to try and build a YouTube audience. Like, that's where it's at. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, the algorithm's like really weird. Like, I remember jumping in and immediately it was like, we're going to clean a cow hoof. And I'm like, I have no idea how the hell it wanted me to watch a video of like cleaning off a cow's hoof.
You watched Listen, hey,
I watched it.
You watched it. You watched it. You liked it.
I love those things too. People like when they reshoeing horses and stuff like that. It's oddly satisfying, man.
That's hilarious, dude.
But speaking of holidays, so I know that you were talking about Hawkeye being like a holiday series or holiday type movie.
Yeah.
Where has Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special gone?
I think that's going to be next year, bro.
That's why they're not talking about it, right?
Like, if that was this Christmas,
is it already confirmed they're doing one like that? Mm-hmm. Is it like a short film, like 45 minutes, or what?
I don't think they've talked about the length of it or kind of the content-wise what it's going to be. James Gunn is involved directing it, and the only thing I know about it
was done though.
I'm sorry.
I thought Batista was done.
After Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I do know with this, James Gunn has said that like the Christmas special is going to be like kind of must-see viewing for Guardians 3. So it is going to tie into the actual MCU. It's just not going to be it's not going to be in its own bubble. It's going to tie into the MCU and tie in directly to Guardians 3 for people to check out. So I'm hoping for like Thor Malt Santa. That's my big bet. I'm ready.
Thor Mall Santa and Party Thor.
Yeah.
Live action Party Thor would be pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, I think it would also be really interesting if Thor is the Mall Santa, if they make him look similar to like his comic book, like old age type, you know?
I've been watching a lot of these just outside like comics that we're not really talking about covering. I've been watching a lot of these like 9-hour videos that I'll put on while I'm laying down, like, and it's one of them was talking about all these different versions of Thor, and like I really kind of want to see live action All Father Thor, like old man, one eye, long hair, horned helmet, still got the scaled armor on. Like
I think that's coming, bro.
So badass.
I mean,
that is the villain from that like line of movies. That's who's Christian Bale is playing, God Killer, and like Gore the God Killer, and I
that
hope
was the story.
I hope they bring in those characters, like Old Man Thor, Young Thor, because it's my favorite Thor run I've ever read.
It's like Gore the God Killer was like out there destroying all these gods, and Thor was just one that was for some reason was just like above and beyond all the other gods, and he couldn't kill him.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I just love how Thor is just gets more powerful as he ages. Yeah, just older, wiser, strength. And stronger.
Got that old man strength.
I think it makes sense. Like, I think that's where they're kind of going with Love and Thunder. You know, he'll kind of hand over the mantle of Thor to Natalie Portman, and then I think he'll become the Allfather.
All right, so cool. I'd say getting into our Marvelous chat this week, I think we should maybe do Guardians first because we can get through that quick. Everyone's already seen those because we have a lot of What If. We have the What If new episode and the midway season trailer, which I actually didn't even watch. I heard about it, didn't watch it, saved my first reaction for a year. So I'm excited to see it.
Ultimate fail because I went to throw it on there before we started. And
I saw that.
Popped up in Spanish or something. I was like, whoops.
All I saw from the trailer, or all I've heard about it, I guess kind of ruined via the internet, is that Party Thor's in the mid-season trailer. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see it.
It looks really good. I heard a rumor as well that, I can't remember who, one of the directors for the MCU was talking about how I think what they're planning on actually doing live action zombies. So what we viewed last week is somehow going to come into a live action movie or a live action series of a zombie breakout. So it'll be like a kind of multiverse show.
They're trying to replace The Walking Dead. Isn't it coming to an end, or didn't it just come to an end? They're trying to get that audience. Hey, I like it.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I think I enjoyed that episode, and I think it would probably slap a lot better in live action.
And with zombies, you don't have to get Robert Downey Jr. to be Iron Man in zombie form.
They don't talk.
You don't have to get any of the names. You have good makeup department, and then you're chilling.
Yeah, I wonder, do they bring like a couple of people in, like maybe some of the Disney Plus guys in to be like the humans,
uninfected?
Yeah, and then they have, you know, everybody else, Captain America, everyone as zombies, and then you can just kind of have them grunting and stuff and have their faces half blown off, and then it doesn't matter who they are.
Exactly.
I'm all for it, dude. I think it'd be great.
I would personally hope that the virus advances and allows them to speak.
At the very least.
The true to comics, but then you, I mean, you could still get away with not getting RDJ because, I mean, you could just say its vocal cords are decayed a little bit, you know?
Right.
Oh, you could easily do it.
Throw on the sunglasses is good enough.
You just get the dude who did the voice for him in this week's What If.
That's what I was about to say.
Great.
Dude, that was a note that I made. Was like I had to look in the titles and be like, "Is this actually RDJ?"
Because you know the very first trailer for What If. I think when I first heard the guy playing Robert Downey Jr., I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it sounds kind of weird,
nasally,
and I don't know. I just thought he was trying too hard or something, but as you kind of listen to him more in the episode, I believe in everything. Like, I was like, oh my god, this actually does sound like RDJ. Like, it was crazy. But we'll talk about that later. Anyway,
Guardians 1, it's one of those ones that you forget how good it is until you watch it again. Like, you know that it's good going into it, but then you watch it again and you're like, damn, this is really good. It's like a dish that you haven't eaten in a while that you love. And you're like, yeah, I know it's good. And then you take that first bite and you're like, oh, damn. Yes, like the soundtrack's just hitting so well. I enjoyed the rewatch of Guardians 1 super much.
For me, I'm gonna be a bit of a drunkie on this one, and
oh no.
I love how that's
Negative Nelly. Negative Nelly.
I love how that's the noun.
I just honestly, the movies for me, my favorite part of the Guardians movies is the soundtrack. Honestly, like for me, the music is the best part of it.
It's timed so well.
It's just it's so good. The music selection is phenomenal. It just brings you straight back, and I just think it's great. There's obviously a lot of parts of the movie that I like, and there's some things that I don't like. I would honestly rate, if I was to throw all of the MCU movies into a list, I don't even think Guardians of the Galaxy is it's around the middle, maybe towards the second half of the list. Like, it's not top 15 even,
Okay,
Shocking.
I think it's still top.
Not
I think
top 15.
Yeah, bro. I honestly, it's a good movie, and I like the comedy in it. Like, I like James Gunn's comedy. I like Batista. Ronan was kind of cool in the first one, and it's a great movie and all, but it's just, if I'm going back and if I'm like, shit, I want to watch something from the MCU, and I'm looking to watch something that I really enjoy, Guardians will never be something that I pick out of the list. And, my girlfriend loves the Guardians movies, and I'm just yeah, I can live without them. Like, if something happened where I could never watch them again, I genuinely wouldn't care.
I mean, for me, this is honestly one of the better MCU movies. I don't think I have an official ranking in my head to place it, but I would say it's in the top echelon of MCU movies. Like you said, the soundtrack is just an absolute banger. It's kind of like a cheat code for James Gunn. I think the reason people didn't like Suicide Squad as much as Guardians is because the soundtrack was a little bit more indie and deep cut than this Guardians is just real poppy, and people were all about it the entire time. But I just think the way they introduced Peter Quill, the way they introduced the Rocket and Groot and just everyone, this movie nails the ensemble cast and how to introduce them in such a fun, cohesive way, and bring them together. It's a masterclass in how to do a movie with a bunch of new people in it, and introduce them to the audience. And I think it's really interesting to think about, because when you think back of this movie, this was a huge hit, and we all know it was good. But when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, this is kind of was the most risky thing they ever did in the MCU. They're introducing 5 new heroic characters all at once in outer space, and the Guardians was not a collection of people that a lot of people outside of the comic book industry ever really heard about. This is a pretty deep cut before they release this movie for the characters they're using and them as a team, and it was an absolute risk. And I really think this is the movie that opened up the MCU to be bigger than just we're going to be fighting Red Skull and the Avengers and Ultron, these small characters. The Guardians of the Galaxy busted the MCU wide open.
Yeah, it put us into cosmic proportions, and that's what I really liked about the movie as well. Everything that you saw from the beginning, the fact that Chris Pratt was just doing the dance and listening to the music and probably singing along to it as well, and it just felt so comfortable. It really brings you in to the cosmic entity of the universe.
Yeah,
slowly at first. And then afterwards you see oh, geez, they're out in space, and it's just this fun feeling. And I really think that are we talking about just the first movie or the second movie as well?
Well, we watched both of them, so I suppose you could jump back and forth. I don't know if you wanted to maybe just stalk the first one and then jump into the second one, but I don't see any harm in speaking about two of them, because they literally, in the timeline order, they're one after the other, so go ahead.
Well, I could speak for the first one, since we're still on the first one. So yeah, just the introduction to all the characters, just like Drunky said, it was a really, really tough thing for them to do, but they handled it very well, especially with the prison scene. That prison scene really set the tone for how the movie was gonna go off for the rest of the show. And there were a couple interesting fights. I really thought the most heartfelt moments were probably the moments with Peter Quill. Especially when he goes out into space to save Gamora, showing off his humility, his compassion, and his ability to save others. So
We Are Groot is a tearjerker.
Well, yeah, We Are Groot is a tearjerker, but I honestly still think that Chris Pratt just straight up stole the show.
Oh yeah, he did. He comes out with like you said, his comedic presence from the beginning just is commanding, and like you just want to follow what this dude's doing. And even as someone like a lot of people that went into this movie that maybe didn't know about Guardians, maybe had watched Parks and Rec, which I wasn't one of those, but apparently he's just super beloved on that show. The same kind of comedy. So a lot of people knew that he could deliver. I didn't go in there with that knowledge, and I still got that same as if I had watched all of his past work, and I was still like, yeah, he's killing this. And you just really, the whole movie, like, it's just great. You get to see, like, you forget how funny, like, having someone that's not a huge fan or hasn't seen it that many times, like, Meech, my wife, was cracking up the whole time. Like, he's like, that guy's eye, I need it. Leg, need it. Like, all those things.
Was it her first time watching it?
No, probably like second or third, though. It's just someone that hasn't seen it a whole bunch of times.
I'd love to sit down with somebody and experience that kind of first viewing magic, you know? Because, like, as you guys are talking about it, like, I'm trying to think back to my first viewing of it, where I enjoyed it the most. You know, I find that it's one of those Marvel movies that when I go back and rewatch it, it's not as special. Whereas there's movies that I can go back, like Winter Soldier, I go back and watch that, and it gets better every time I see it, like, you know. But with this movie, I think it kind of, I don't know, it's like when you see it for the first time, there's all the comedy in it that you find funny. Like Rocket's very funny, and you know, Peter's very funny as well. But like, I'm kind of like, when I'm going back, I'm not laughing at the same things I was laughing at the first time, you know. So it kind of loses a bit of magic for me. I'm not shitting on the film; it's fantastic, but it just doesn't have the rewatch quality, I find.
Maybe I'm just a dunce because or maybe I had more of that like first time watch magic because, like I said, my wife hasn't seen it as much. But like things like nothing goes over my head. Fast. Like things like that.
I love Batista. I love Batista. Like, I'll laugh at Batista for sure. But like, I don't find Peter funny in like the rewatches, and I don't really find Rocket funny in the rewatches either, to be honest.
Does anyone know if Batista was thought to be a bad pick for Drax to begin with, or if he was? I think I didn't hear much about it, but I could have sworn that maybe Batista was more like a like what? Why would they? I mean,
his
Drax?
acting chops back then were definitely still up in the air, but I think this is kind of where he solidified himself as being able to deliver in a big movie, blockbuster movie quality, you know, set.
I definitely.
But I do remember feeling that at the time, being like, is he going to be able to deliver on like this kind of?
I definitely remember when he got cast. I remember thinking to myself, he could potentially be in very much over his head. But at the same time, you know, you gotta look at like the casting people for Marvel, and I like can not think of anyone that they truly fucked up on. Do you know what I mean? Every single person except for maybe Captain Marvel.
Rhodes.
Yeah, well, that was kind of a disaster situation. But I think like anyone that they've hired on that in the MCU, I think has been a really good fit. You know, like 99%. Anyway.
Bold take, Fito, bold take.
And we're just blacking out all of the Incredible Hulk.
Do you not agree?
We're just blacking out the Incredible Hulk.
It's not MCU, bro. Incredible Hulk is not MCU. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Alex. I'm so sorry. It's not MCU.
It's gonna happen eventually. Either that, or they're gonna do like. Maybe they'll change it up. They'll be like, oh, it's the Immortal Hulk.
I like the way What If seemed to be kind of like taking some cheeky shots at like some stuff that they've kind of redone in the MCU. Like they kind of drew Terrence Howard. Did you notice that? Like the likeness was kind of more like, or sorry, no, the likeness was like Don Cheadle, but they were redoing Terrence Howard scenes and stuff, you know. And I just they did that as well with Ruffalo. They had like the first Hulk like kind of face, but they had Ruffalo doing the lines, and I'm like, those cheeky motherfuckers.
And like the Ross felt like a hybrid of both of the Rosses this time, where I felt like last episode it was more just like the actual Ross from the Incredible Hulk. This one felt like both of them kind of. It didn't feel like either one heavily. Yeah. I guess you guys want to get into the What If, or you guys want to do a little bit of Guardians 2?
Oh, definitely Guardians 2. What did we think? Like, so Guardians 1, right? Like, what would you guys give it out of 10?
I'm like sending it still like an 8 out of 10, man. When I sit down to view it, I still get that wondrous thing. Like the opening scene still like grabs me. It feels like I'm watching like an old Spielberg movie from like the late 70s. It's got that sci-fi, and I think that opening scene just like sets the mood for me. It goes 8 out of 10 for me. This movie still holds up to this day. I think you're crazy. I think you're off the deep end, Finto. You truly are having a drunky day over there.
Now you're saying
no,
that.
like as I say, like, you know, everything you say, everything that you guys are all saying about the movie is 100% correct, 100%. Yeah. But I don't have that kind of magical feeling when I'm watching it. Like exactly what you just said. The opening scene where his mother dies is absolutely heartbreaking. It's phenomenal film. And like, you know, when he runs outside, he just gets taken. And like again, I'll never forget first watching it. You're like, whoa! It's like big spaceship landed down in on Earth in the 616. You're just kind of like, oh my god, is this happening? Like it was like I tried to just think back to my first viewing of it, and it was spectacular. But I don't know, it just doesn't have that rewatch quality for me. So Drunky, how would you rate the second movie? Is it on par with the first? Is it worse? Is it better?
I would say that it is a pretty decidedly step backwards for the Guardians cast. As much as I love the first one, I feel like the second one just didn't capture the heart that the first one did. I thought Kurt Russell was fantastic in it. I love the way he plays Ego. I love his acting in it. I like his relationship with Peter. But there's just something overall about that movie that just doesn't feel like it's as tight and fits as well. And maybe it's because everyone like kind of, you know, breaks apart in the mid, and we're dealing with other people separately. Because the Guardians cast is like, you know, the sum of them is better than each of them individually.
But like
and because they're spread out so much, it just kind of loses a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And plus, Baby Groot is just a joke that went on too long. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can agree with the Baby Groot thing.
Drunky's back.
I'm just gonna say, bro, like fuck Baby Groot and fuck everyone that obsesses over him like they're like it's their own fucking child, dude. I cannot stand the Baby Groot love that took over the entire country.
It's the same thing they did with Grogu.
I was about to say while we're at it, fuck Grogu.
Yeah, it's because it's like it's predictable at this point. We know we're gonna get that baby character. Like we know in Star Wars we're gonna get a droid that's cute, beep boopy boopy, rolling around, and yet it happens, and everybody still acts like they didn't know it was about to happen. Like, oh my god, Baby Groot!
I heard they wrote in like a baby worm into Dune.
Oh my god! I'll tell you a funny story. Actually, when I was watching Guardians 2 for the first time, my girlfriend, like obviously, being a woman, obviously fell in love with Baby Groot straight away, and she turns to me during the movie and was just like, I want a Baby Groot, and I was like, you fucking have one, like, you know, it's like, just stop, you have one, like, and she actually erupted laughing in the middle of the theater, like, it was so funny. But yeah, so Mr. Crunk, give us Guardians 1, give us your out of 10, and then Guardians 2, how does it compare to the first?
I don't want to echo too much of what Drunky said, because I'm like same page as him. We're same page, same paragraph. The first one still hits right for me. I don't know if it's because, like I said, I had a really good rewatch value with having someone that hadn't seen it as many times. And then the second one is, again, don't echo him too much, a step back, because you just don't feel that comfort. You don't feel... I don't know. Maybe it's the way it's structured. It's something about the way that first one pulls you in from the beginning and holds you there and gets you a little bit closer as the movie goes and a little bit closer. And this one, from the beginning, I mean, you have Kurt Russell, which is cool, but it's still not the same kind of beginning on Guardians 2. And then, like you said, towards the mid, we have everyone doing their own thing. So you don't have that feeling like you've been drawn closer in. You're kind of just floating out there, waiting for it to coalesce back together so that you can feel comfort in it again. So 8 out of 10 on one, and then I'd say on the second one probably like a 6 out of 10, 6.5, maybe close 7. It's in that area for me.
Very fair.
Yeah, but I think the Guardians just really like we said before. I came in to the Guardians 1 not knowing anything about them. Like who the hell is this? Never even seen Parks and Rec. And now there's someone I couldn't really imagine like the MCU without. Like they've got their own little thing going on.
Alex, yeah.
So I think they're both on par with each other, to be honest. It's the way that the first movie explains things and the way that the theme is. The theme is that they're a bunch of jerks who are pretty much learning about each other and learning that they are pretty much protectors of the galaxy. They're guardians, and that if they just work together, they can overcome anything. The second movie splits them up because they want you to understand that the theme behind this movie is reconciliation, forgiveness, understanding other people's feelings. Because when you see Gamora and, oh God, I forgot her name already. Nebula. When you see Gamora and Nebula's like conversation and how she's saying she wanted a sister this whole time and that Gamora never really listened to her. Like that was that big reconciliation moment. And it was, broken up by the fact that Ego had an ulterior motive and that's why he's away. So when you see this whole like conversation between Ego and Star-Lord, it's this weird, like, how is this going to turn out kind of situation. Whereas with everyone else, it's like, you already know who Yondu is, you know who Rocket Raccoon is. Mm-hmm. And you feel this sense of them trying to bond better. And they do eventually, like, even though they're still kind of jerks towards each other, because of course they have the same kind of personality. So like that moment in the ship with Yondu and Rocket, that was amazing. Like when he got his arrow back, that was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then when they did the jump, that was, very fun because it was silly. But ultimately at the end of all of that, Yondu and Rocket like come to a point where they knew that they were each other, which was beautiful. Like you see that, and then you see, Gamora and Nebula, and then, but the big X factor was, of course, Star-Lord and Ego. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I really gauged from it. I'm trying not to go into a loop, but yeah, it's all based on reconciliation, understanding each other's feelings, and learning to bond with one another, although you've been far apart or had a misunderstanding, which I thought was beautiful for the movie. So I think they go hand in hand, whereas one is like a meet and greet, and the other one's like, oh man, I made a huge mistake.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think you got a lot of really good points there, and I think the movie does work with what it's trying to do. Like it sets up a framework and does execute it, and the scenes are great. I think like knowing that it's just that premise and that doesn't feel as good and feel as fun than the first one. And I think when they make Guardians 3, it's going to improve my opinion of Guardians 2, because it's going to be part of this larger narrative, this larger film series where Guardians 3 and Guardians 2 are going to be talking to each other a lot. And my opinion might go up, and like those themes might deliver more in Guardians 3 and feel better when I go back and rewatch. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of like not so much of a hit at the second one, being down in rating. It's just the first one. What they set up and what they executed to me was so much more fun and so much more of like a movie I want to go back and rewatch, versus Guardians 2, where it's just kind of a lower note.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can agree with that, because when you take a look at Guardians 1, it ramps. Like it goes up, big roller coaster ride, and then the finale would be, the Power Stone being held by all four of them. Mm-hmm. That was fantastic. When you see the moment with Star-Lord and Ego, like when Star-Lord figures out that he can do the same amount of powers as Ego, that was fun. It just wasn't as enticing as seeing the Power Stone and they're just standing there and looking like just total badasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You singled out Peter Quill, made him look like the only badass within that scene, which kind of took away from the other characters. So I totally understand that. Also, Guardians 2 is more of like the I would say the bunny slopes, like just very like moments of like, oh, that's fun, and then it just dips down to like very somber moments. Yeah. And I totally understand that.
So
ooh, child, things are gonna get hot.
for me, like the first movie was definitely better. Some of the things I like, there was some really, in the second movie, there was some really kind of like gripping scenes. Like the Yondu death scene was just like that'll kind of stir up emotions in you every time you watch it. Like that was a hard thing to watch. Great acting from Chris Pratt in that scene. And I loved the scene as well where Ego admits to killing the mother. He's like, he just like casually drops the line and he's like, when I had to give her that tumor, and you're just like, what? I was like, oh my God, like that was just like crazy. So The second movie for me, like those moments in the second movie were probably some of the best moments in the Guardian history, you know? So for that, I really liked the movie. I didn't like Peter's kind of story in the movie, though. Like, you know, he becomes a god and 12 minutes later, he's back to being a human. It was kind of just like this crazy build-up, and it's like, holy shit, this guy's like the most powerful thing. He's a planet, and then it's like, oh yeah, no, it's cool. Sorry, no, he's back. He's back. He's human again. So for me, I'm just kind of like, why even give it to us? Like, you know, if you're just gonna take it away straight away, like, you know, let him be the fucking god for a movie. You know what I mean? I understand you couldn't really have him stepping into Infinity War as a fucking god. You know, it would have just been ridiculous. But I don't know. Maybe you do the
Marvel.
Yeah, well, fuck that. Like, but like, you know, even if you were to do the ego story in Guardians 3 or something, I think they just did it a bit too prematurely or something. It would have been nice to have it, like maybe do that story in the Christmas special or something, and then, you know, we get a taste for it. We kind of are left with a bit of a blank spot of him being like an absolute god. And then when it comes back in, maybe he loses the power then or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Too big of a power scale too early.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah. It was like 0 to 100. Like, it was crazy. I don't know. That just didn't make much sense to me. Like,
it was just a weird situation for me as well, because I thought it was weird that they made Ego the father of Peter, when I know in the comics, like, Peter's father is in the universe. He's traveling the galaxy. I forgot what exactly he was, but he's just a human. And they decide in the movie, like, yeah, and they decide that now he's just tied to Ego, which is just weird. Like, what kind of story were they like? It just, that part bugged me.
It's a weird introduction to the Celestials, honestly.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because, like, why would you pick Ego out of everyone?
Again, it's like they're playing with such a weird scale so early on in the MCU, and I felt like they didn't really they hadn't warmed up the pot enough to boil these noodles. I don't know. It's just like they're introducing Celestials. Oh, by the way, Peter's also a god. Oh, psych, no, he ain't. Like, I don't know. That's why for me it's like the step back too. Is just because like you. They're playing and they're doing things that you can't fully understand yet, and even at this level where we're at in 2021 in the MCU, people still probably don't really get the significance of the Celestials and stuff. We still have to watch Eternals. We still have a lot to do to figure out like what the significance of that entire movie was, you know? So it was just too early.
Yeah, maybe when, you know, after we get Eternals and stuff, you might go back and have a better appreciation for the storyline in that movie. Maybe I don't know.
I've seen the rumor that it's going to be a different Celestial they're going to show us, one called like the Dreamer that gets left on Earth after, you know. So we might not even, again, it could be another Celestial, and then we're still going to be in 2021 not knowing what the hell Ego and the Celestials are good for.
Yeah.
I think I remember watching the second movie and just hoping that Peter being a Celestial was like a psych moment, you know, like, you know, the realization that, oh no, I'm not a Celestial. This guy was just keeping me here for like his evil deeds. My real father's still somewhere out there.
That wouldn't surprise me either, you know.
I mean, it'd be cool. Like they were tricking him. Peter being like the Collector's son, that'd be cool.
The Collector's son?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Isn't the Collector like a Celestial also? Am I crazy?
Is he a Celestial? I don't think he is.
I don't believe so.
But he's like a really powerful being.
Yeah, he's a powerful being, but then he's not celestial. You know, still makes it all.
He's not a human man.
And then we get more Collector.
What did you guys think of Mantis? Do you like Mantis as a character, or?
I like the writing they did for her. Like, they make her literally walk like a mantis and sit. Like, there's been a lot of breakdowns that people have done since then. How, like, obviously my wife works with insects, so seeing stuff like that's super cool. How, like, she does like movements like a mantis, like an actual. I don't know. I think they did the really good writing for her.
What I
enjoyed Mantis a lot, just because, you know, it's really hard to bring in a new character to this cast. Like, they're all a very bold, big cast. They all got a lot of personality. I think like Mantis was like the perfect one to fit into that group, to where she doesn't have to take up a lot of like, you know, space emotionally, and then she can like read other people's emotions too and bring that out in them. I liked her.
Yeah, I think they kind of went a little too hard on her, if that makes sense. Like, I think some of her lines were funny, but then some of them were just kind of really dragged out and a little too hard. Like, you know, they were kind of fetching for the comedy a bit too much with her nearly. Like, I kind of enjoy the relationship she has with Drax, but at the same time, it's like, you know, is it that funny listening to the two of them just be stupid together? Like, it's not really. Like, you know, I think you do a couple of jokes and we get the point, and then you kind of just move on. Like, you know, I don't know. That's just kind of how I felt about it.
It made the formula, if you get what I mean, for the movie. So you know how everyone was in pairs? And so the idea behind that is that Mantis and Drax are a pair. Yondu and Rocket are a pair. Nebula and Gamora are a pair. But at the same time, with Peter and Ego, Gamora was kind of also the third wheel. So that's where you got like the something's going on kind of situation with that. And so because Mantis had been hanging out with Ego so long, she had all the information, and that's why Gamora was able to go and like figure out what's going on. But yeah, it's just the formula of like, you need to pair people up so that they have their rapport with each other. And even then, like, it's still a reconciliation moment or like an understanding moment, because you see that Drax understands that Mantis is a beautiful person, although not beautiful to him.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Drax comedy. You know, was it in the second? I can't remember what movie it's in, where, you know, he's like standing perfectly still thinking he's invisible. Was that in Infinity War? Maybe that might have been in Infinity War. Actually, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that part. Like,
I've mastered stealth.
Best thing about Guardians is Yondu's arrows. Yeah, I agree.
Really fun moment.
Yeah, I love it. I love at the very end of the second movie when the other dude is trying to learn to use it. I thought that was very funny as well. It's like kind of it's classic.
It was a really
classic.
It was a really cool homage to Yondu's comic book appearance.
Yeah, I love, like, there's a lot of emotion in that movie around like Yondu's death, like, you know, which is like really good to watch. Like, it'll bring up emotions for sure. Like, you know, like even like when all the Ravengers show up, you know, and like your man does that like big scream when, like, you know, he realizes the Ravengers have come back. Like, it's like, that's fucking emotional to watch, you know.
Yeah.
Big time.
It's also nice to see Shang-Chi's mom or aunt in this movie.
What?
Oh, was she in there?
Yeah, she's the Ravager at the end. The Asian female Ravager. That's Shang-Chi's aunt.
No
Kidding
way.
me. I didn't even notice.
Drunkie's cracking the code in the MCU early.
Is that them being lazy and double casting, or is it actually meant to be the same character?
I don't think it's being lazy. I mean, they are double casting. It's not the same character. I don't think it's lazy. I just think it's kind of like, this is a fantastic actress and we kind of underutilized her in this part. And so we, you know, just kind of want to bring her back into a bigger role.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because like she has like, you know, one line in Guardians, you know, like, do you really want to dump one of the best Asian female actresses out there for like one line? It just.
I mean, if you think about in terms of the Fantastic Four with Chris Evans as the Human Torch, do you think that Marvel took a look at him and was like, you know what? He's still like, he would be a great superhero.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like, you know, when they were starting it up and they, you know, you're not going to waste Chris Evans when you have a chance to bring him back. And I also think it's a lot like people like Kevin Feige who really go to bat for certain people and certain actresses and actors. And are like, hey, I want them. This is it. You know, it's kind of like what you're talking about with James Gunn and Batista earlier. I do think he had to fight to get Drax in there. I think that there's sometimes like
he came out and said that is correct. He came out and he came out and confirmed that he actually he did have to fight for Drax for Batista. You know, so you're dead right in what you're saying.
You know, it is what it is. It's like a bunch of suits who think they know everything, and then you got your creatives who are like, no, this is the person for the role. Like, this is it.
Yeah, can you imagine if like they did Michael B. Jordan for the new Fantastic Four, and then they were like, no, we don't think he'll be fit for Killmonger? How insane would that have been?
Yeah, that'd be
really
terrible.
Yeah.
You're just trying to line up the
No, my camera's falling.
I was like, this whole time, I was like, if this all ends with him just lining up his mic and Finto's mic, I'm done, bro. I thought he's been trying to line up the mic the whole time because I keep looking over at the stream like, are they lined up yet?
It was like sliding off my stand thing here. No, it's going.
I was about to adjust earlier. I'm not gonna lie.
I was adjusting like crazy before we started.
Guys, give me 1 second. I'll be RB. 1 second.
And I'm, quote, not 100% a dick. Well, do you think he's lying? Well, I don't believe anyone's 100% a dick, ma'am. I love John C. or Bill C. Riley.
You need my
Riley or Bill C.
John C. Riley.
I don't know why I thought it was Bill.
Bill. I don't know, but like his role in the whole Novacore thing, I really felt like they, kind of missed a huge opportunity in Guardians 2 by not coming back to those people, right? Like, just so good. Yeah. Like, so good.
There was crazy little things in like the beginning of the movie. They have like these like light towers in the city, and they're like, there's one for each color of the Infinity Stones and stuff. And I remember watching being like, hey, look, those are the Infinity Stone colors right there.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
I think that may have been like one of my bigger problems with the movie too. Is like in the first Guardians, you get the sense of this like big universe that we're going around. And in the second one, we just go to ego. Like we just go to the planet and like, that's it. Like we're there. Like once we get past the forest scene, we're pretty much just on the planet and we stick there. And the game just doesn't feel, or the movie just doesn't feel as big as Guardians 1 did. The universe just doesn't feel as huge.
Yeah, like they didn't utilize it the way Star Wars does, where it's like you feel like you're going planet to planet, different pieces of the universe. Like you said, it was just, we're here, now we're here. There's no like, oh, they could have had to go through an asteroid field to get there, and that makes it feel just a little bit bigger. But no, they could have done all these other things that other movies do, and I don't know. I think Guardians 3 maybe. Do you think it was just not big enough of a title yet back then? Do you think that after the success of Endgame and the success of Phase 3, do you think that they have a bigger budget going into Guardians 3 and that allows them to do that? Or
possibly
time constraints? I'm not sure.
I would say that they had, after the success of Guardians of the Galaxy 1, I think that they had pretty much the budget they wanted. I don't think there's anything they wouldn't have given James Gunn to make this movie. I just think James Gunn had a story in his head, and that's the story he told, and maybe it didn't work out as well as he wanted, or maybe it just didn't resonate with fans the way the first one did. But I feel like they gave James Gunn everything because Guardians was massive, man. Like it was massive.
Well, in terms of the story, and like, does James Gunn get to talk to the story writers in addition to like what he's directing?
I think they let people in the past. I don't know how they do it now. I pretty much think they want directors to be able to like tell the story they want, and then like if you have to hit these notes. We want the Guardians to be in this movie. We want this character to be here, and like you got to line that up. But like the more intricate story notes about what they do in the story. I think that they let people like the James Gunn and the Russo brothers kind of do what they want. Nowadays, I don't know because it's kind of a confirmed saying that Marvel doesn't really seem to be looking to work with like bigger directors, and maybe that means they want people more they can kind of have under their thumb and not argue with them about stories and stuff. But I think people like James Gunn really had a lot of freedom to run in this.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a fail. Like the second movie wasn't a fail. Like I can see how it didn't do as well as the other one. But it still hit. It just wasn't a bullseye.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, and I don't know I'm sure you guys kind of feel the same way. I didn't appreciate it as much the first time around, but I've really, it's a new level. The Stan Lee cameos in every movie is a new level now. Just seeing him pop back up.
Yeah.
Going through and just being like, man.
It hits different. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I actually ended up, I had kind of nothing to do the other night, and I got my hands on the Amazing Spider-Man movies kind of in a preparation to do a rewatch before No Way Home, and I threw on the first movie because I was like, I don't remember how it starts, and I just ended up leaving it on. But like, I think his cameo in that movie is one of my favorites because I know Spider-Man was like his character, you know. So, I love his cameo in that one. You know, where he's in the library, he's got the big headphones on, and like Spidey and the Lizard are fighting in the background. They're just trashing the place, and he's just like listening to classical music. It's just sorting books, and then he just walks out. Like, I'm like, oh, bro, it's so good. Gotta say real quick as well, Clint's in the chat. He's like, he just watched Infinity War for the first time. I'm wondering why Spider-Man dusted off into the wind. I can't believe you're only watching those movies for the first time, bro. I'm envious of you that you get to watch them for the first time. Like, it's just a magical time watching those movies. Like, oh my god. Woo! I would give anything to just be able to wipe my memory of those two movies and just watch them again for the first time, just to experience it all again. My god.
Imagine we could watch them back to back for the first time.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
But you had to have a mandatory 3-hour break in between them so you could sit there and
ponder
about life. Yeah.
just be just be like Thanos at the end of the first one.
You can't watch, you know, that saga without putting, or those two movies without watching Captain Marvel in between them. Just can't do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, because if you were to watch them one by one, you'd be like, "Who the fuck is this girl?" It's like, where'd she come from?
I feel like you still feel that way having watched Captain Marvel, though. That's the problem.
Clint, I'd give anything to wipe my memory of Thanos' ballsack chin.
That's why.
Ryan Reynolds makes that joke to Josh Brolin in Deadpool 2, and it's like
so
him talking about, because he plays Thanos as well, so it's just classic fourth wall break, like, you know, it's very good.
Also, can we just say that, like, I thought it was really cool that they showed a little bit of Thanos, like they really did their best to introduce Thanos a bit more in the first Guardians movie.
Did they go back and color correct him now? I thought he was like shitty purple. Is he color corrected on Disney Plus? Because
he's darker in like Infinity War and stuff.
Remember the first appearance where it was a post credit scene where he turns his head and smiles, and it's
he's
super
dark. He's dark purple. I think that's very comic accurate. I think that's the way they probably should have kept him. And they kind of lightened him for the other movies.
Yeah,
and I think they are you saying they went back and actually changed, like, made him dark?
I'm asking if they did. I thought that maybe he was like that in Guardians 1 originally too, and then they changed it.
I think he had that look for Avengers, right?
Yeah,
Avengers, the post-credit scene for Avengers. Okay, yeah. I thought maybe for some reason, I guess I have a false memory of him being in Avengers, like with that same purple and just being like weird. I guess I'm full of it.
Is the purple dude in Doctor Strange Jeff Bezos?
Yes. What really like bugs me, like now that I mentioned like Captain Marvel and the Infinity Saga, and like bringing it back to like Guardians 1 and 2, if we're gonna have that character who comes in and just like annihilates him out of nowhere, like it's super strong, how the hell did they not deliver on Adam Warlock there? Like that's Adam Warlock's scene. Yeah. And like they set him up in Guardians 1 and 2, and like he's not here yet. Like what the.
Yeah,
it's
do you think he's going to be in Eternals? Do you think he's post-credit Eternals, or
no? I think they're saving him for Guardians 3 full out.
Is he an anti-hero? I don't really know much about Adam Warlock myself.
He's kind of like Kang. He always shows up at the same time as Kang. From what I've seen so far, he always shows up at like the same time as Kang. He does like the same role. He's outside of time.
A lot of the fan theories I'm seeing is that he's going to be the one that kills Drax. So I'm like, is he evil or not? I don't know anything about him.
He's not supposed to be.
But is he like Venom?
Like
anti-hero?
Oh, okay. I think he's more just he's above. He's separated from the morality of a situation. Like he's thinking on a whole different plane.
Gotcha.
Like the Watcher. Like he's like he's outside of time. Like he's every time I ever saw him, he's always like time traveling with Thanos' brother Eros and stuff like that, and like someone will pop out of a different dimension somewhere, and then Adam Warlock will be like 10 seconds later, like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Like it's so weird. Adam Warlock is like, yeah, he does that. Like he pops in and like, "Hey, you need any help? All right, well I'll be over in this universe. Let me know if you need anything." Like it's super weird.
Just as a quick update, I posted a picture of Thanos' face from each of the movies.
Ooh la la! What evolution of Thanos we're seeing?
It looks like they started with Whedon, they went into Gunn. I honestly think Gunn's was one of the better looking ones besides Whedon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked him when he was like darker.
When he was fuchsia.
Yeah, I think he looks better. Like the Gunn version is probably my favorite one. I think.
Yeah.
Why is he so different looking in the mall? That's crazy.
They really wanted to get those wrinkles in.
Isn't it kind of like, but like, you know, when we think of the MCU and how, like, you know, top quality it is, and, you know, how, like, you know, close to detail it is, it's actually crazy that we have these 4 different pictures, I find. You know, like, that's actually, like, when you see them together, that's actually wild.
I mean, maybe we now give the MCU a little bit too much credit. Like, I've thought this for a little bit, that like people were like, are like, everything's planned down to the tiniest detail, and I think that
maybe it's not.
Marvel likes having that myth built up around them that everything is super planned, and I really do more so get the sense that they kind of fly by the seat of their pants and then kind of like retcon it in their mind, you know, where it's like, oh yeah, that's totally what we were doing there. Gotcha. Love it.
Yeah, just like, whew, thank God they believe it. You know, that was planned all along. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the color they did for the Infinity War saga was it's kind of weird.
It is weird.
It's weird, but like it definitely works in the broader tone of the movie, and the broader colors are used around it. You know what I mean? Like the golds and the way he plays off of like the muted colors that Cap has and stuff. Like I think when you're looking at them as a whole, like if you're looking at the film as a whole,
yeah.
If he's like purple, he's a little bit more weird, man. Especially in the scenes like when they open up and he's out in outer space, with the Hulk and he's in that dark ship. Like if he's that dark purple, like you probably don't read it as well. Like I'm sure they have conversations like that.
We need him bright purple, dude. Like we need him to pop out. Like
I want RGB Hulk.
I need the Razor edition of Hulk real quick, okay?
Yeah. Razor
shout out Razor.
Yeah.
Just these bright purple and green going at it.
Alex, did you give your rating on Guardians 1 and 2? Sorry, I don't remember.
On par.
Oh,
they're both on par. I would
about 8 out of 10 or something.
Yep, 4 out of 10 for him, both sides.
Okay.
They equal up to 8, you know.
Okay. Yeah, like for me, I think, you know, both of the movies, if I kind of try and rate them on the first viewing, I would say maybe like a 7 for the first one and maybe like a 6 for the second one. I just think like the second one was just kind of a bit too much of a roller coaster for me, like up and down, like really good parts, really bad, and just it felt like they were kind of reaching too much for the comedy at a lot of times during the movie. And then there was just all the weird shit with Peter Quill just becoming a god, and then 10 minutes later he's not, and it was just kind of all over the place. So it would definitely be a lot lower for the second one. But then the second one had some of the most like heart-jerking moments in it. So it's a roller coaster. It's up and down like crazy. So yeah, I'd say 7 for the first one, 6 for the second one for me.
I know who you are, boy, because you're me.
Yeah, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. I actually have that on a t-shirt. It's fucking fantastic. That's one of the funniest moments ever. Like, it's like, you look like Mary Poppins. Was he cool? It's like, yeah, he was. And it's like, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That shit is fire, bro. Like more memorable moments than Guardian 1.
Yeah.
Like more quotable scenes.
Yeah.
That still stay with us.
Yeah,
Mantis, look out.
Yeah, I don't know. So, anything else on Guardians, or shall we move into the What If episode?
Bro, I'm so excited about this one.
Really quick about Guardians before we move into the What If episode.
Yep.
Drunky, you mistakenly mentioned the video game. What do you think about the video game?
Guardians of the Galaxy video game?
Yeah.
I am super excited for it. It comes out in October, I think the beginning of October at some point. And I'm totally pumped for it. I think the character design, I know a lot of people are hating on it. I actually like the way the characters in the video game look way more. I like the way Drax is designed. I like the way Gamora looks. I think Peter Quill, it looks like more of a, outer space, kind of spacer looking dude. I'm super pumped. I love the way Rocket looks in it with his goatee and stuff. I think the game's going to be amazing. Disappointed that we're not going to be able to play as each individual characters, but I don't want to take that away from the game. I want to play the game, like the game they want me to play, and then kind of base my opinion off that. But the way it looks so far, amazing.
A linear RPG or?
It's more of like a third-person shooter type of linear story, I think. So it's kind of like you're on rails a little bit, I believe, going through missions. It's kind of like a Ratchet and Clank platformer almost, but shooters.
I think it's very story driven, right? Like, you know, you're, I don't think it's open world really at all. I think you're very much railed to the main storyline, and that's kind of it. Which I'm all about. I love games like that.
Now, did they say it was fueled by choice, or is it just that whatever choices you make, it would still ultimately funnel into the same situation?
I don't know, actually.
Because, like, I think you've seen the gameplay trailer where he had to make a choice on what type of thing to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think developers always give themselves too much credit for how much choice they give you in video games, to be honest. So I never expect games to be too choice driven anymore.
Do you find when you're playing a game and you hear that there's like 32 different endings to the game, do you find that you want to go back and play it, or are you the type where you're just going to go onto YouTube and watch the alternate endings to the one that came out and then realize it's like, shit, I got the worst one or whatever, you know?
Finto, have you played Nier Automata?
No.
There's like, I think 28 endings.
Woo!
I think Heavy Rain was one of the games I played on PS3, and I think there was like 32 different endings to that game. It was crazy. It was crazy, yeah. And
I personally I just like to grab my ending and then go watch them. You know, I feel like the ending I get, like that was the game I was supposed to play.
For sure.
And I'm interested in everything else, but I definitely don't want to go back and like redo it just to get a separate ending. It's just kind of okay.
Yeah, especially not after playing a game like Mass Effect 3. You know.
Whoa.
For sure. Like I think
sounds like you're a bad commander.
I think
sounds like no matter what you pick, there's bad endings, bro.
I think there was that horror game as well, Until Dawn. I know Max was talking about this pretty passionately, and was it you he was playing with, or was it Gabe? I can't remember. And he was saying the two of you had everyone alive until the very last fucking scene, and then
until the very end when we made one wrong turn.
Yeah.
And person gets their face chopped, like peeled off.
Yeah.
And at the very end, we're pushing the controller ever so slightly, getting to that last part of the ending.
Yeah.
And somehow we got caught.
Oh,
and we were like, what? This is bull.
Drunky, I think you need to pop that on your list, dude. Like, I think that'd be a very highly entertaining one to watch on your stream, bro. For sure. It's
very good, Drunky.
It's fucking great. Like it's like Friday the 13th or something. Like you're in a cabin in the woods sort of thing, and you're just in the middle of a horror movie, and you know it's what happens to you. Like, you know, the choices you make determine who lives and dies, and so on. And there's some like Hollywood actors in it and everything. Like, you know, Remy Malek's in it, and your one Hayden Pedal. I can't even pronounce her last name. She was in Heroes. She played the cheerleader and stuff. Like
Penitentiary.
I'm not.
Sounds like a noodle.
I'm not.
Penetier. I think it's Penetier.
You know who I'm talking. You know who I'm talking about. But yeah,
you know damn right.
Yeah, we know. So yeah, great game. Highly recommend. And I think it's free on PlayStation Plus at the moment, so you can just grab a copy of it for free. Yeah. So what if, guys? Let's kick in. What do we think? How do we rate this episode in the multiverse? That is the 6 multiverses we've seen so far. How does it rank? What do we think, Drunky?
Wow. What if we went back and made the show horrible again and made everyone sit through some like really just bad dialogue and story choices? I did not like this episode. It was a major step backwards. This felt like one of the first 2 episodes for me. I know a lot of people liked it. I've seen it around the internet. I know Kyle's been a big fan. But very, very bold of Marvel to actually like try to create a story and then just not even have an ending to the story within the episode and just kind of have it. All right, there it is.
I think they're doing that on purpose because I think some of these stories are going to continue. So I think we will revisit, like, obviously the multiverses that end. You know, if we see like a disaster event, that's it, game over. But as far as I know, I presume a lot of these characters are going to return again. So, you know, for me, I thought it was a bold episode as well. You know, killing T'Challa in it I was kind of going, oh my god, I can't believe he's dead. And we're looking at him in the afterlife and stuff. And I was just like, oh my god, this is so hard to watch. But it was great. Like, I thought it was very entertaining. I didn't like Tony at the start, but he kind of grew on me as it went on. I hated his voice. And in that first trailer, I hate his voice in that trailer. But I kind of became you know, used to him. And then Killmonger was kind of cool. I kind of liked how it looked like he was a good guy, but again, it was just kind of him being him, you know. He's like trying to take over Wakanda and stuff, and I thought it was interesting. Was it the best one? No, but it was okay. And I think I'd like to see the storyline develop more. you know. Yeah, I don't know. Solid enough episode for me. I would like to see more.
I'd say not my favorite episode, but definitely top 3 for me. I think one of the reasons why is, and I already talked to Drunky about this a little bit, I think in my mind, this is truest to the essence of What If that we've got so far. Everything else has been these weird changes like, oh, just swap Captain America with this character. Oh, what if he didn't crash? What if he lost his heart instead of his hand? That one is my favorite episode, so it's still kind of better in the What If series. But so many of these changes are just like little what ifs. This one is like a completely like something we never saw at all that like has been fabricated out of nowhere. This guy comes and saves him, which this isn't like a retelling of something. It feels like to me this is a new story, and something that I kind of predicted and asked last week, which was easy to predict. So I don't want too much kudos, but a little bit maybe. You know, he doesn't become Iron Man now because he doesn't have to build the arc reactor. So that was really cool to see. I
loved that line about the arc reactor. I actually got a good laugh out of that. You know, when he's lying down and he's like, "Oh, we could build an arc reactor." He goes, "That's ridiculous." It's kind of like, oh my god, that was so funny. Can you guys hear me? I think my internet dropped for a second.
Drop for a second.
Yeah, I'm back. We're back. Sorry, yeah. So what I would say there, the whole scene with the arc reactor, you know, he's lying back and he's chilling and he's like, "Oh, we could power it with an arc reactor." And he's like, "Nah, that's ridiculous." You know, I thought that was very funny. And remembering Black Panther 1, because I was kind of thinking like, what's the relevance of like Killmonger? I'm like, what is going on here? But then I remember that he does reference that he did tours in Afghanistan and stuff, so he would have been there around the same time. So it makes sense that he would potentially come across.
And that's where he got the
Stark.
nickname.
Yeah,
Killmonger was in Afghanistan. So
yeah, exactly.
It was just for me. It just hit on so many levels. I love how like he out Obadiah. And then like all these little things, I really enjoyed this episode for me. If I had to rate it out of 10, I would say 8 out of 10. It's probably my second favorite episode. To me, it is so true to the core of like what if is to me, because I didn't read the comics growing up. I know a lot of the comics were just the smallest changes, and they like doing that. But when I think what if, I think like these completely branched universes like we saw at the end of Loki on the timeline. And I think this really fits that branched universe narrative in my mind, and I loved it.
Yeah, I would say that I really liked this episode much more than Zombies. I thought Zombies was a failure in my opinion, and this was far better. It wasn't perfect, but it was really good. I did like how most of us were speculating that this was Killmonger trying to be a better person, when in reality, we all forgot that he still grew up having a deep hatred for the fact that he's been left behind. And so like coming back to this, it really showed, like it tripped me up because I totally forgot. Yeah. You can change the outcome of what happens to Tony, but you don't change what happens to Killmonger, because basically he's already gone through that. Now, if they started from the beginning and they said that like his life changed from the beginning, then yeah, he probably would have been a good guy. But at this point, you could kind of still see like, oh yeah, he's just going to sabotage everything and take over. But the way he does it is at a much more intelligent and like defined level than even in the movie. Because in the movie, he was very meticulous about handling things, and seeing this episode really shows how intelligent Killmonger is at being such a tactician, as well as like a master warrior. And it blew me away at how well he worked his way up in power, especially with his ability to make people think that he's a good guy. And which is really interesting to me, because we all thought that he was going to be a good guy because he saved Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, you did believe that for the whole show. And then it's like, oh shit, he actually is killing people. I was like, oh wow, okay. He is a bad guy. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
It was beautiful because like even during the war between the Wakandans and the Stark Tech, like he still had to play it off as if he was still like a god amongst them and wanted to become better. You know, he could have easily tried to downplay it and say like, oh, our general died by, it was an accident or something, like, anything that could possibly get her killed. so that there would be no other sense of like, you know, question. But the fact that Shuri was there, like it all was, what's the word? Predictable. It was all predictable, because once I saw Shuri, I'm like, oh, she's going to do some investigation. She's going to find out that he did all this stuff. And even though he's going to rise to power, it's going to turn into a part 2. And when I saw that at the end, I was like, I really wish this wasn't a two-parter. But in the comics, there are two to 4 parts for certain stories. So this isn't like a, oh man, we're not going to see what happened. We're not going to see what happens. Like, we are. So in the second season, we're probably going to see what happens.
I mean, I really do hope so, because I felt like not only did they just didn't leave it off with a lot of resolutions. It's like there was no satisfying thing here story-wise to wrap it up. And even though things have part 2s and, you know, second episodes of things, still with like self-contained with its own episode, I just don't feel like the story worked. I feel this takes it back to the first 2 episodes where I had problems where they were trying to do too much legwork on retelling too much and trying to put too much story into it, where I just felt like it was like it was going, and it pushing through so much story. And I think if you really take a step back from me when I look at like the whole thing as it kind of works, or how it works, and I don't think it does, is because if you don't know these characters beforehand, this just doesn't work at all, right? Nothing about it works because they don't introduce you to anybody. They just show up. You're supposed to know who they are. And while that is kind of like an MCU thing, this thing is kind of abuses that fact. And I don't think they had enough time to tell this big of a story. And I think they miss a lot of things that I feel like would be the most important story parts. Like, I think that Killmonger and T'Chaka should have been had a bit more screen time together. Their story would be way more interesting to me than anything that has to do with Iron Man and like Tony and Killmonger's relationship, which like I don't really care about. But T'Chaka and Killmonger together, that is wildly interesting to me.
Oh yeah.
And they just kind of just touch on it a little bit and don't really like do a deeper dive on it. And I wish I would have seen that. Also, I was kind of thrown off by Black Panther and T'Challa. They made Shuri look so young, but like T'Challa is already the Black Panther, which in my mind, this is Iron Man back in 2004. And I kind of feel like T'Chaka would still be Black Panther back then.
Yeah.
So that kind of like threw me off a little bit too. Like, I don't think Killmonger would be this age. Like, it's just, the timing feels a little weird. It feels like a decade. They skipped a decade and we're just like, no, they're like this old now. They're like this person, you know?
So in Civil War, is it referenced or mentioned how long T'Challa's been the Panther for? Because like the way you're kind of meant to understand it is that like the mantle was only probably handed over quite recently, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like this timeline should be like 2007, 2008 at the very beginning of the MCU. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. And like I would have to go back and rewatch Civil War because I really don't know, but I got the impression like he's a pretty new Black Panther, and his dad recently retired, and like felt like it was his time to like pass it over to him.
Do you think that he was like the Black Panther that long? Like, he's very old in What If? Like, it seems like he would have passed it off a long time ago. Like, he's like old.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, I just feel like it's a decade apart. Like, I really do feel like those, like, Civil War and Iron Man are a decade apart. And so everyone would have been a lot younger. But that's in my mind. Like, you know, I think you said 2007 it came out. I think Civil War came out like
14, I think, was it? Or 15? Or 16?
Was the first Iron Man?
16, right?
Civil War, I think, was... No, Civil War was like 2015, was it? 16? I think so. But like, I think some of the timelines don't really make sense as well, because there was the episode with T'Challa as Star-Lord, and like that movie was set in like 2008 or something, where it should have been set in 2014 as well. So I don't think they're really following the exact timeline of the MCU as well. I think, like, you know, whole butterfly effect things maybe happen earlier or later, you know, as well. So I don't think we follow to a T the timeline of the MCU, the 616.
I want to agree with Drunky really quick before we get too far past it, though. I really do agree that there should have been more context with T'Challa and Killmonger in that scene. Like, your dad killed my dad. Why are you doing this to me? Like, there could have been so much more emotion invested into this. It's kind of predictable how they're doing these part 2s where they're leaving a big bad. Like, obviously with the zombie, we had a zombie Thanos with most of the stones already, or all the stones. In this one, we have Killmonger as the Black Panther, as the big bad. So they're really leaving a big bad at the end of each of these episodes, which is kind of predictable for these two-parters. I wish they don't have to do that if they want to do a two-parter. They could have like we just said, they could have built more emotion and story into this, and maybe the end of the episode could have been him drinking the liquid or something. I don't know. I felt like him being the Black Panther was really rushed in this episode.
Yeah, I think that would have paid off definitely a lot more at the very end of the episode, where you have him drinking the potion to become the Panther, and then it's like fade to black, and you're like, whoa, what? Yeah,
we're like, yeah.
So I took a look at the timeline. So the release of Iron Man 1 was May 2nd, 2008. So if we were to say that the timeline within this episode takes about the span of a year, T'Challa would get the Black Panther suit.
In 2008?
In 2009. So if we were to say that Iron Man starts in 2008 and the episode spans about a year's worth of like work, and then they go to talk to Claw, T'Challa has the Black Panther suit by then. So
and we're working about in 2016 though?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But in terms of the mantle, he was given the mantle of Black Panther in 2009.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is that official in the MCU? Is there a mention of that, or is that... Okay, cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it was a much later date.
So did I, because it seemed like, I think if you're viewing Civil War, I think you're meant to kind of think that it seems like a recent thing, but at the same time, like, it does look like T'Chaka's been retired for quite a while. You know, like, there's no way he's fitting into the suit. Like, you know, he's living happy as a king, you know? he's living large. He's putting those feet up. He's in retirement, you know?
Also, when it was an embassy that T'Chaka was at when he was killed, right?
I think it was, I don't know if it was an assembly. I don't know if it was an embassy, but it was like a UN assembly type of deal.
So, and I think they were speaking as Wakandans, right?
Yes. He was the kid.
Yeah.
He was there representing Wakanda as the king of Wakanda. He wasn't in any way, shape, or form Panther or anything like that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it would fit that, you know, he would have his training as the Black Panther over time and become very well versed in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought like the episode was pretty solid. What do you think like would happen? Like, I suppose, like, what happens next? Like. You know, like, it seems like with the trailer, and I might throw it up in a second and maybe we can watch it and maybe just do a little live reaction to it. But what do we think is, like, how do they end the season? Do they end it with like an Avengers style event, like bringing some of these survivors together? That's what I kind of think might be happening.
I mean, they definitely felt like they were setting that idea up in our heads for the to get us to watch it. Like in the previews, I really got the sense that they were doing that. And it does feel like they stepped away from that, but it totally could still happen. I think in the very beginning of this episode, I think this is the first time we actually see the Watcher in color.
Yeah.
He's normally just like a monotone, like, you know, black and white, you know, or just a real silhouette looking guy, and he's actually in full color in this episode. So something's coming. It seems like down the road. You could be right. It could be a bigger meetup, but at the same time, like who are they bringing together? Like, everyone's kind of lost in this.
Yeah,
I think they end the season with a non-two-parter, just super fantastical episode. They have to end the season with something that's just like super out there. It's not going to be something that's going to require a continuation next season. It's something that's self-contained in itself and is just like the Doctor Strange episode. Obviously, that one ends with the universe ending. They need something crazy and fantastical that ends with, all right, that's the end of that universe.
You know, rumor has it that there's going to be more than one Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Give them all to me.
So, like, the Strange that we saw, the evil Strange, I think they're going to be doing that in live action.
I mean, if you go, you know, the trailer you showed before the podcast today for Spider-Man, when he says, "Be careful what you wish for, Mr. Parker," that really doesn't sound like the tone Doctor Strange has had the entirety of the MCU. Feels completely out of character the way he's speaking like that and his delivery. So
I saw something on TikTok. Now, I know TikTok's probably not the most reliable source, but some people on there go really hard, and I think they get a lot of stuff right. But there was someone doing a breakdown of that trailer, and they matched up the voice of that as of like the Detective Stacy, you know, Gwen Stacy's father from the Andrew universe, and I'm pretty sure it's the same voice actor, which is kind of crazy.
You know what I want? I want all 14 million Doctor Strangers to meet in a council and talk about it all. You know?
How about Dr. Gwenge?
Who the?
You know, Gwen Stacy becomes Sorcerer Supreme.
No way. That's fantastic.
That picture that I sent you in the Marvel channel.
Yeah.
That was actually stripped from a comic where Doctor Strange and Gwen are looking at like an alternate universe where they see Doctor Strange on film.
That's actually very funny, yeah. And it's like, oh, Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, I see it. Very funny, dude. Very funny. I'll put this up. Hang on 1 second. Just for anyone who hasn't seen it, that don't know what we're talking about. Can you read that on the screen?
It's no.
No, I can't really zoom in on it, I don't think. Hang on.
I think you can open the original.
Yeah.
And then...
There we go. It's like the people and the events of our world leave footprints in yours. Little records retelling. It's like Benedict Cumberbatch. Sure, I could see it. It's fucking great, dude. It's really good.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's great. I love shit like that. Like, you know, it's just...
Yeah.
The fourth wall breaks are fantastic, you know. It's like, let's not take this too seriously, guys. We're talking about fucking comic books here, you know.
So, in reference to What If, you know, so I was sorely mistaken. Uatu, and it seems like at near the end of the season, we're going to see Uatu, you know, meddle into everything and maybe pluck people, put them in different places, like you said, Vento.
Yeah.
In the comics, I made a mistake. In the comics, he actually helps the Fantastic Four.
Right. Okay.
And so, but in terms of this, he can't help them because they're not in the cinematic universe just yet. So this is what they got. So I think that's why they're setting it up like this. You know, waiting for that moment where Uatu can't hold it back anymore, and he has to help someone. So this will be interesting. Also, in terms of Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom was taught by Cagliostro. And so Doom has like he has proficiency in the mystic arts, which is why he's extremely powerful.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that, and I think it's like, you know, I don't really know much about a lot of the MCU character or like a lot of the Marvel characters outside of the films, and I just think like, you know, anytime you see Doom or anything, like obviously you can't touch on any of that stuff just from the bullshit of the real world licensing and stuff like that. So yeah, that's very interesting. You know, like the ties to comic books and stuff like that. The whole like Illuminati thing within Marvel Comics and stuff, like, you know, I think there's rumors that that's going to be talked about and maybe potentially seen in Doctor Strange 2 as well. Like, I think they're aiming at an Illuminati scene, because I think that's why they have Patrick Stewart coming in for that film. Apparently, that's the scenes that he shot was for like an Illuminati scene. So that's kind of crazy.
Oh, they brought Patrick Stewart in because I just lost my train of thought. I was actually going to try to connect two things that I realized weren't going to connect, and then I realized
you're like bail, bro, bail.
Yeah, I had to bail out. I was going to connect two things that my mind connected. Then I realized midway, like, oh shit, I'm messing this up.
Like, Kyle just came out from the blocks and the shoes were tied together, bro.
Full transparency. In my mind, I heard Patrick Harris, and I was thinking of Doogie Howser, and I was like, they're gonna connect Matrix to the MCU. Boom.
Oh man, NPH.
Please God, no.
Yeah. Matrix in the MCU, bro. But then I had bailed.
I'm going to throw up this trailer for the latest episode, so I apologize to anybody who might be listening to us on Spotify. What we're going to be doing right now is we're going to watch the sneak peek for the mid-season return of What If, and we'll kind of talk about it live and go from there. So let me see if I do this. I want to try and do this right so that we can watch it together. So if I put this here...
Make sure it's the right language, please.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about that. I'll never make that mistake. I'll never make that mistake again. Cancel that for 1 second. Sorry, I wish I had StreamYard right now for shit like this.
Need to hire a podcast producer, bro.
I know,
Grow
bro.
up.
I'm sick of doing all this shit myself. What the fuck is going on? Here we go. This has to be it now. Sorry, it's like I need to get a third screen. Would sort all my problems out if I got a third screen. Okay. And if we go here, yeah. You guys should be able to see it now. Yeah. Can you guys see it now?
Show you all of them.
Yeah.
Can you hear anything?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's
Why
go.
stop at one hero? When we can show you all of them.
Heroes are forged in darkness, defined by sacrifice. There is still hope for the multiverse.
Here we go.
We do not back down from a fight.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Now or never.
Zombies, great idea. That doesn't sound ominous at all.
Hey!
Who needs a plan? I have a shield.
What happened to you? You will see.
Witness the biggest heroes of the multiverse.
Or small, if you catch my drift.
What if?
You know what they say when you're out of luck. Always go duck.
I'm pretty sure no one says that.
Now streaming only on Disney Plus.
Is that Seth Green that's doing now with the duck?
Yeah, Seth Green does them. So I'm just gonna play it again, mute it, and we can talk. Like,
I don't like how they're reusing some of the footage.
If
that
this
we've already
is,
seen, though.
yeah, there's a bit of that, but at the same time, there's a lot of new footage and there's a lot of really cool footage as well. I think like I am hyped for the second half of this series, to be honest. It looks fantastic. Like this is the scene I was talking about as well. Did we see this already? You know, where they kind of show. Okay, yeah. So, like, this is obviously the first Avengers movie that we see. And then I think like we're getting a look at a different Widow alongside Captain Carter and a Gamora and a Thor. Like this looks fucking fire, bro. And again, and then we've got T'Challa again, so we're getting more T'Challa Star-Lord. Like that shit looks great. To me, I think that looks fantastic. There's a lot of really cool shit. Obviously, we're gonna get more of like good guy Thanos, and again, we've seen these Spider-Man clips, the zombies. That was new.
Party Thor.
This was new.
Yeah, I heard that's Party Thor.
So you've got Thor working with the evil Doctor Strange, which seems interesting, and he's got some new armor and stuff like that. It looks like maybe could it be like magical because it seems to kind of match Strange's stuff. Maybe I don't know. Me just kind of spitballing here. I don't know.
It's Sorcerer Supreme Thor.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. And like Carter looks cool. Give me more Carter for sure. What I noticed as well is obviously if everyone that they're bringing together in this trailer are all going to come together for one thing, like that would be pretty epic because you've got 2 shields at least, which I think would be cool. Imagine seeing like the Britain shield and then seeing the like Steve shield, which was given to Bucky, you know? I think that'd be fucking fire, bro. I want to see more. I want to see more Bucky with the shield for sure.
Put some respect on that. It wasn't given to Bucky. He cut Captain America in half and took that.
Well, I think he earned. I think he earned it.
Yeah, it wasn't given though.
Well, you know what I mean.
You killed Captain America. You earned it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if you could chop. Go ahead.
I got mixed feelings about that trailer and like what they're going to be doing for the rest of it. Like I think there is going to be like a meetup thing where they bring a couple of people together.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's going to be everyone that they're like trying to name off in there. I think they're just throwing that out there. Like Thanos again. I don't think Thanos is going to be in the big group up, right?
Oh my god!
He just doesn't.
Look what I'm noticing here.
She got her own shield.
Very sorry to interrupt you, Drunky.
You're fine.
Let me just play this on quarter speed because that's actually the Red Guardian shield. It's not. Look.
Yeah, that's her own shield.
Look. So either that's red. I think that's Red Guardian shield. I don't think that's her shield. Isn't that the Red Guardian shield?
Yeah, it's wearing red.
Woohoo! So we've got 3 shields.
So that just feels like, I don't know, it feels like a separate, like the world gone wrong. Like the Earth is really destroyed there in a way we haven't seen. And I don't think they're gonna have everyone that they listed off coming back into the second half of the season.
Right.
I feel like it's just like promotional. Let's try and get as many people interested as we can.
Yeah. Like I definitely feel that it's like if you haven't been watching the show before, like here's a list of every single person that's in it. It's like you've got like the entire MCU showing up in this thing, So like I think that's pretty sweet as well. Like
the collector doing
DJ
work.
set. Yeah, I was on IMDb there a few minutes ago while we were talking, and this looks like it's going to be episode 9, and then I think we have this Avengers style episode as 10. So, or sorry, as 8 and 9. So it looks like we're getting.
How do you have a pacifier in his mouth?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, with Korg?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Buddy, have you never been to a rave?
No.
I've been to plenty. Okay. I've been to plenty of raves, and I can tell you, I've never done that.
I haven't. I've seen plenty of people. I've seen a lot of people with like those in their mouth. They lace them with drugs.
Oh wow, that sounds interesting.
Oh, it's a drug lollipop. Touche.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
I feel like Clegg would have some crystal meth in there.
I gotta find a way to pull Max Luthor so he could take me to one. He's the guy you go to if you want to check out a rave.
I'm too old for that shit. Those days are gone, bro. Yeah, so like it looks like the Avengers are going to be going against what looks like an army of Ultrons, from what I can see in this trailer and kind of what I've heard. Because I think that
looks like a second part.
Look at this. Look, that's like they're like all Ultrons, like crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm interested. If we get to see, and like I don't know, like do you think that they would release a trailer like this and show us season 2 footage? Like I know, Kyle, we've talked about this. Hollywood are just absolutely fucking us when it comes to trailers because they give us way too much. Do you think they have the audacity to show us shit from season 2 already?
I don't even know if they have season 2 animated yet. That if they had season 2 animated, I wouldn't put it past them. Now that's what I guess dwells down to for me is I don't know if they've animated any of season 2. So
yeah, I don't either.
We're gonna
be surprised if they did.
Very quick, either the mid-season, either these stories are self-contained within the season, even the continuation ones, so they don't pass to the next season, and they just do this mid-season split and then close it all up and then in the season that way, which I would actually like better than having to wait until next season. So I guess
I mean, do you think they would do a fake out similar to how they do it in the movies? How we saw in the Infinity War trailer, we saw that the Hulk was available, but it actually wasn't. It was like a Hulk Buster with Bruce Banner. Do you think we could see that in animation as well for these last few episodes?
I honestly, I wouldn't put anything past them. I think anything's possible. Like it looks like we're getting, and I nearly thought it was a fake out before I saw that trailer. I think in one of the episodes we get a glimpse in one of the intros when the Watcher's speaking. He talks about just like differences in the timeline as opposed to what we know, and you see a tiny glimpse of a different Avengers team, and I was like, oh my god, if that's the fucking clip that they've been referencing in all these trailers, I'm gonna lose my mind, because it's like the biggest like fucking cock tease ever, and like I feel like that they could have done that, but now after seeing this trailer, there's definitely a lot more footage coming of a team assembling for sure, and it's like seems to be characters we've already met. Now it could be different versions of them because I've seen a bit of footage as well of a Killmonger Black Panther who looks like he's part of that team as well, so I'm wondering, is it going to be the Killmonger that we've met already, or is it a different Killmonger? Because we're dealing with the multiverse here, so we could end up seeing a bunch of different, like I presume we're going to see, we've seen now a second Black Widow That's a different Widow to the one we met first of all, because obviously she died. You know, so you know we're seeing multiple versions of these characters already. So I wonder, is what we've just watched in that trailer, are these going to be new characters again, or are these people that we've seen before? That's what I don't know.
I don't know, because it would be. I guess it depends on the storyline they want to tell with Watcher, because I don't think they would reintroduce a new Captain Carter or a new Doctor Strange and have them look like that.
Yeah,
they look like the same characters, whereas like Black Widow has a different look to her. So I don't know. It's really hard to speculate on the series, just because I feel like we've been kind of duped on how the series is going to go overall. But I don't know. Maybe all these like stories that they're leaving kind of open ended, they wrap up and they bring those people into these new storylines or something.
Yeah,
because it's all coming down to, you know, Uatu pulling him out, doing what he's not supposed to do, and causing trouble. And then it explodes in their season 2.
Yeah. I'm interested. This last episode, as much as I started to really enjoy this series, I just completely fell off this episode. I feel like we watched different episodes. I feel like I'm the odd man out here once again. I'm just like, what happened? Like,
such a drunky move, bro.
Look, buddy. Look.
Hey, bro,
you know,
this is
okay.
I love the fact that there's a bit of yin yang going on in these conversations. You know, like it wouldn't be interesting if we all had the exact same opinion. You know, like we'd just be regurgitating the same shit like 4 times. You know, so
yeah,
it's good. Like I like that we disagree on stuff and we have different tastes. Like me and you, Drunky. Like I would think that we agree in a lot of cases about a lot of things. You know, Star Wars, everything like that. But then Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect example. I don't think it's great, and you think it's top tier. I'm like, okay, you know, there's differences, just different tastes. So that's great. That's what we need. You know, that's going to bring on marvelous chats. Hence the name.
We all agreed this
Drunky just being a typical drunky. You know how it is.
Being a drunky downer.
Downer? I'm very positive in my negativity. All right, there's nothing down about it.
Yeah, I will say Drunky
so negative.
Drunky is one of the most positive and constructive negative people. He won't just shit on something without saying how he thinks it could have been fixed.
I don't hate it to hate it.
That.
Like, I don't hate things to hate. I just, you know, I've been kind of a snob my whole life about movies and all that. And like, you know, the MCU, like I love it and I give it a lot of leeway. But then when they start to not like follow their own rules, it really breaks it apart for me. And like all starts tumbling down.
Yeah.
Like just,
it's positive criticism. It's no big deal.
Is everyone here going to be pre-ordering Venom tickets? I hate saying these words out loud.
I already did.
I actually will tomorrow. I think I'll get some tickets tomorrow.
I know, Drunky. I'm on the same boat, dude.
Well, I did not want to watch this movie.
I hate watching it.
Okay, well, look, this is kind of a natural progression. I really want to talk about this movie because I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's like been some fucking shit that's happened this week with regards to this movie. I'm
already stirring shit up.
It looks like, and you know, I don't think it's, well, is it a spoiler? It might be a spoiler. I don't really know, but basically, it looks like what's after happening is there was a screening for the movie on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday in the UK. Tom Hardy was there, Andy Serkis was there. They literally previewed the film to a bunch of media people and a bunch of like super fans or whatever, and you can see there's a video online. I'm sure you can find it. You won't have to look too hard. But there's a video of Tom Hardy basically saying, whatever you see here, please don't put it up on the internet. Like, don't tweet it, don't Instagram it, don't do whatever you got to do. And I don't think the movie was probably over 5 minutes and people were dropping shit on Reddit and everything and just basically spoiling everything. Now, 2 things I have to say about this. Like, number 1 is that I think it's a marketing scheme. And if it is, it's a very intelligent one because, you know, you release a video of Tom Hardy, and again, it looks very well recorded. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone from Sony was actually recording that video in the crowd. But it looks like, not to say it's staged, but it looks like it was meant to be out there, you know? Because if they really wanted to protect the secret that is the post-credit scene in this film, they would have showed the fucking preview and not put the end credit scene in there. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's out. I think it's out there for a reason.
Are you saying the moon landing is fake, bro?
I would agree with you there. It is fake. But anyway, that's
just, like, very
that's for a
ordinary
that's
film
for
from
a
the
different
side thing.
podcast. That's for a different podcast. But yeah, like, and then
Wait, you just said the moon landing was fake?
I think it was, yeah.
He agreed with it casually,
This nonsense, bro.
He agreed with it casually, bro.
Like, I'm a Floridian, all right? We sent your fucking asses to the moon as a human race. I
Yeah.
will not stand for this slander, dude. Okay?
Again, look, it's a very
Guess what? A couple of Florida mans went to the moon with some like thin metal in between them and space. Okay?
bro. There's fucking more technology on my fucking phone than there was on those like spaceships back then. I don't think they went to the moon. They could barely go there now.
Exactly.
They could barely go there now.
Like, you can do the math by hand, bro. All that math they used to go to the moon, they did it on. You can do that by hand. This is back when
I don't know, bro.
Men and women actually did mathematics. They didn't rely on AI to do it for them. All right.
I really,
They're cowboys.
I truly do not want to go into conspiracy theories right now because we'll be here for another fucking 4 hours, and I think the podcast might break up after.
I will die on this hill. We went to the goddamn moon. You know why I know you went to the moon? You can take a goddamn telescope out and see the Land Rovers up there. You can look at the Land Rovers on the moon with a telescope.
I think
just the way Finto talked about this footage is the same way people talk about moon landing footage. That's why I came in with that. He's like, I think they had someone there they had the lighting. It's real well lighted. This is staged by
Are we?
I bet the movie.
Are we conspiracy cast right now?
No, I really don't want to be. But all I'll say is I just don't think that. I think the whole history behind it, the whole space race of the 60s versus the Russians. I think that they spoofed the footage to say that they got there first. I do believe that they have been there, but I don't think it happened when it happened. Like, it's 1969, and the footage that they have is incredible to be recorded in space. Like, you know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. And then there's like, they record the first.
It hasn't changed.
They record the fucking dude.
It really hasn't changed.
They record the dude taking the first step off the thing, and it's like, one small step for man, and it's like, who's recording the fucking video? There's somebody already standing there. Are you telling me they're sending a drone out in 1969 with a camera attached and they're recording this shit live and sending it back to Earth? Come on, bruh. No, dude, I'm sorry.
Oh man.
I believe that they went there, but I just don't think that they did it when they did it. I just think they put that footage out there to beat the Russians. Fuck you, Carl, for bringing this up, bro. He's just sitting there evilly laughing to himself. Like.
He's dying right now.
Yeah. I didn't think it would turn into this, bro. I didn't think you just casually agreed with me. Like, yeah.
People who don't think we went to the moon that early just lack the imagination for human ingenuity. Okay. How did we point a camera at it? There's we landed stuff there before the humans said, like, they just had to put it on the side of something and get it into the goddamn ground. It's the moon.
Don't even get them started about the flag moving.
Oh yeah, the flag as well. Like, so there's obviously no air in space and the flag's flapping in the wind.
But because there's still gravity. There's still gravity.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Look, I love it, bro. I hold an American passport. I love the Americans, but I don't know. It's
you're
not
about to get that
like.
passport revoked when Drunky writes a report on you.
Ireland. I'm gonna blame it on you.
Yeah, please.
Flat earther.
No, I'm definitely not that far. For fuck's sake.
One and the same to me. We didn't go to the moon. Flat earthers. They're the same people.
Oh goodness.
So anyway, to go back to some Marvel stuff, please. So yeah, basically, they literally did all this bullshit with the leaking of the actual end credit scene, and apparently there's some audio footage or like audio files going around. Someone actually recorded the audio of the post credit scene in their pocket, and you can actually, I haven't heard it myself, but I've heard descriptions of it. So apparently there was a couple of different kind of explanations of what people saw. So that's kind of weird that there's like a couple of different endings, people telling different stories. But apparently there's a audio clip, and in the audio clip, I don't know, should I tell you what I heard or not? Do we keep it secret, or do we talk about it?
I mean,
I feel like you're in charge of the Spider-Man stuff.
I know I'm not going to ruin this on you if you don't want to know, but from what I've heard, and it seems like it's pretty solid, and it makes a lot of sense to what I'm going to talk about after. If you do want to hear. But again, this
Send
could
it. I don't care.
This could be all bullshit. So I don't know. Like again,
Well,
these aren't official leaks. I suppose it's only kind of rumor and speculation. But
Look, you just told us that the moon landing was fake. I don't believe anything else coming out of your mouth. So go ahead and let us know.
Okay, fine. We're safe. We're safe. So basically, at the end of the movie, there's a scene where Eddie Brock goes in. He's sitting in his sitting room, and he sits down to watch the news. And apparently, there's like some sort of like flicker or something, and it's like a kind of like ripple in reality or something. And I think what they're saying is meant to have happened is that he is kind of picked and like dropped into the 616 because he kind of like jumps or something in his seat and he's like, what the fuck was that? And then on the TV plays the news report of Peter Parker getting outed as Spider-Man, Tom Holland. And so it's like he's been dropped into the 616 at the very end of the movie. And why I think this now holds up is because there was a picture released today of Tom Hardy and he's wearing a post-production Spider-Man No Way Home hat that would have only been given to the cast and crew of the film. So there's a picture after coming up of him wearing a baseball hat and it says Spider-Man No Way Home, and it's like on the back of it you can see, if you look at it in a mirror, it says cast and crew. So it's like, you know,
I mean, you don't think Tom Hardy couldn't get his hands on that? I'm not gonna lie. You said the word ripple, and then what Drunky said just echoed in my mind about the moon landing. I'm not gonna believe you. So
fine, don't believe me, but I hope I'm wrong, because I don't I'd like to be kind of surprised by it, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Andy Serkis this week was put in an interview as well, like, will Venom meet a Spider-Man? And he's like, absolutely, it's just a matter of when. We don't know when. So it's like, it's all coming, like, it's fact, it's happening. Yeah. But
hopefully what we're gonna get is just that all the Venom that we've had, Venom 1 and 2, was a multiverse of shitty Venoms, and we'll get better graphically animated Venoms in the true.
So I've been thinking about it today, and I think like what I would love to see the most, and again, this is just me throwing a theory out there, there's no kind of spoilers or anything tied to any of this, but what I would love to see is Tom Hardy go to the 616, maybe have a fight with Peter Parker, right? Maybe Peter somehow, maybe a bit of the Venom suit, like, or the symbiote, like, kind of maybe just transfers over to Peter, because it's like kind of interesting. It goes, wow, look at his power, I want to more like change with him. And then basically perhaps Peter, then we get to see the Black Spider-Man as if it should have been told. Then potentially that Venom suit, after Eddie Brock maybe goes back to the Sonyverse, that symbiote then needs to find Eddie Brock, so then ends up finding a 616 version of Eddie, and then we get a technically we get a reboot and a recast, and the story told the correct way. Boom, bro. I honestly should work for Marvel. Like, I think that would just be fucking fantastic. Not to toot my own horn, but beep.
Yeah.
I think that
I think that would honestly be fantastic. You know, you get a bit of the suit, like, because I know they did that in one of the old games, where there's a scene with like Venom choking out Spider-Man, and a bit of the symbiote goes into Spider-Man, and then he turns into he has the black suit then, and it's like the two of them exist at the same time. So you could have that happen, and then 616 Eddie Brock appears or something like that, and then you get the Venom story told correctly in the 616 with a better casting. Boom. I think that would be fantastic. And then
you take shots at Tom all the time, bro. You just take a shot at Tom Hardy every chance you get. My man is a great actor.
Nah, he was a shit Bane, and he's a shit Eddie Brock.
He was a great Bane. What are you talking about?
He couldn't even understand a word he was saying, bro.
Yeah, because obviously you weren't born in the darkness, bro.
That's the post effects they put on him, not his fault, man.
No, fair enough. Like, he got jacked for the movie. I respect it. Like, he's only like 5'7", so when you see someone looking that yoked, when you know he's like a short ass, like, I think that's incredible. But
bro, again, at least he wasn't like the Bane from.
You just took another shot at him for no reason.
The Poison Ivy Bane. Yeah, look at Poison Ivy Bane, dude. Would you rather have had the Poison Ivy Bane come back? You remember that guy? Remember him?
What?
You remember Poison Ivy Bane from the early Batmans?
The dummy.
Yeah, Drunky knows.
Like the Mexican wrestler with the tube sticking out of him and stuff. Yeah, that's Bane. Like, that's the real Bane.
That's supposed to be
Pinto,
Bane.
Listen, you're
That's Bane, bro. I'm a comic book fan. I'm an animated series fan. That's legit Bane. He's like he's like a Mexican wrestler, like for sure.
But he's very intelligent. So like
he's like Octane. You like Bane looking like Octane.
That's the way Bane should look. He's supposed to have
should be like
yeah, he's supposed to have like the toxins going through him and it jacks him up, so when he gets injected he just like turns into the Hulk. Like that's the way it should be. Not that he's just a juiced up dude who has problems breathing.
Right.
Sorry, Tom.
Big Darth Vader fan over here.
Yeah, I love Darth Vader, but like not in Batman's universe. Gotham doesn't need a Vader.
I'm just saying, Tom Hardy is a way better actor than you give him any kind of credit for.
I don't know, bro. Anything I've liked Tom Hardy and he plays the same character, so he either plays a gangster from London, which is not really a stretch because he's from London himself, so he's kind of just acting a bit harder than he actually is in real life, or else he plays like the dumbass American. And I saw that in the MMA movie he did, and he was quite good in that. But it's like I don't need to see it again,
I haven't seen the movie Bronson yet. Has anyone?
I have not.
I think that movie.
I want to see it. That has Tom
was
Hardy.
A complete flop. I think, as far as I know.
Was it?
I think so.
I heard that was his best film.
Oh really? Maybe I'm thinking of a different one that he did. Sorry, I'm thinking of
that one. Flop and still a great performance,
I'm thinking of the drop that he did. I think he spends the entire movie in a car or something like that, and I watched that and I was like, I can't even finish this. It's fucking bullshit. Sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong one. I haven't seen Bronson, but I'll check it out. I'll give Tom one more chance.
Remember when Colin Farrell spent like an entire movie in a phone booth?
Yeah, they shot the movie in 10 days. My boy Colin, proud of our boy from Dublin.
It's crazy how much like he did that, and then I saw him in Bruges, and I was like, man, it's completely different.
He's a good actor.
I'm stuck in Bruges with you.
He's actually a pretty good actor. But I don't know. I'm very interested to see him in the new Batman movie as Penguin. He just looks so unrecognizable as the Penguin. So that's going to be interesting. But I actually met him. I met him years ago. He shot a movie, and one of the scenes was shot at the top of my housing estate. So at the top of like the road where I live, he shot a scene for this movie, and we went up and we're talking to him and everything. It was gas. It was hilarious.
Did you have a beer with him?
No, I was only like 14 at the time. But we did drink on the set at night time.
Still have a beer with him.
They did this scene in the movie where they flipped a bus. And we had like a drinking session in the bus the night before they flipped it. So we broke onto the set of the movie, and we went into the bus, and we were drinking loads of cans of beer and stuff like that in the bus, and then they flipped it the next day, so you can actually see it in the movie. It's hilarious because we were just oh my god, we drank at that bus before they destroyed it. Blakey says Bronson's a good movie, 7 out of 10. Blakey's opinion is biased because he's from London, so he's obviously gonna root. He's obviously gonna root for the homeboy. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I do like Tom Hardy. I thought he was fantastic in Inception.
Oh, do you like Tom Hardy? I don't believe you.
I think he's a very one-dimensional actor, but I think he has had good performances.
Nice about him.
He's had a couple of good performances.
You made it 5 seconds saying something nice about him before you could go back to the negative.
The drop wasn't bad. Wasn't like, oh my god, you gotta watch this, but it wasn't all in the car. All I saw, the only footage I saw of the drop was him in a car. Sharky. Sorry.
And that's the whole movie.
That was that. It seemed like it was going on forever. Let me see. Does anybody have any kind of rumors or anything like that from the week? Or anything they want to talk about?
No, it's been a pretty slow week in terms of news, I think. I think they're kind of like giving room to Venom to run before they really announce anything and get it going. I think after Venom gets out of the way, they're really going to start pushing Eternal stuff on us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Marvel-wise for sure, anyway. Oh. Did you see the Andrew, I think we talked about it last week, the Andrew footage that they were saying was fake, and it turned out that someone used the deep fake software, to say, basically a guy went on YouTube and decided to take claim saying that he created a deep fake for that footage, and basically other people went in and analyzed the video that he made And it turns out that he couldn't prove to where he got any of the footage from, or any of the photos or anything from that he used. And it turns out that he actually faked it by literally uploading the video itself into the deepfake software and just taking it apart and putting it back together. So he was proper just kind of like shunned by the nerds of the internet, just like, bro, you just literally put the clip in, chopped it up, and put it back together. Like, so I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Did you see as well, he was on Jimmy Fallon this week, and the interview was just very, very cringy and hard to watch because, you know, Jimmy Fallon kind of jumps out straight away and it's like, so I hear you're in Spider-Man. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like playing dumb as if he hasn't heard about it or seen the clip. And then he does a complete 180 on it and then turns around and is like, actually, yeah, I did see the clip. It's a Photoshop. It's fake. Like, and it's like, you said you didn't hear about it. And then 2 minutes later, you're turning your story around and saying you did see it, actually. And you say it's a fake.
Well, I mean, I can't blame him. It's Jimmy Fallon. That whole show is just like cringy and weird just to be on the whole time. So I feel bad for anyone that goes on there. And I could not imagine being Andrew Garfield and the conundrum that you're in. Are you in it? Are you not in it? Anything you say doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What people hear is already predetermined, you know?
I feel very sorry for him because I truly believe, like, you know, he's under NDA, and I'd say if he turns around in an interview and it's like, okay, I'm in it, like, you know, I'd say 50% of his wages are instantly gone, you know what I mean? So it's like, leave the fucker alone, like, let him just be. We know he's in it.
Imagine he's actually not. Imagine if a world where he's actually not in it, and every time he gets asked about it, it breaks his heart more and more because that was his dream job that he lost. You know,
true.
Imagine being in that position. That
is very true.
That's equally heartbreaking. You know, just like that's one thing that I always think back on is like he did dirty, like by the writers, by like he just wasn't given very good material to work with, in my opinion. And dude went from like being like. That's got to mess with you, man. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. And
I always think about that.
I think he loved the Spider-Man character more than anyone who's played him. I think he loves the fans more than anyone who's played Spider-Man. I wish we would have gotten Andrew Garfield, but written by the MCU. Like, I wish, Homecoming would have been Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movie. And we, you know, like, I love him the most out of all. Like, I know people like Toby the most, people like Tom the most, but like for me, Andrew Garfield, he's like, he's Spider-Man to me. Like, he fits the character. His personality fits it perfectly. I just love him as the character.
Yeah.
And
I only rewatched that first movie the other day, and I was like, shit, this is a good movie. You know, I know it's got a few cheesy bits in it, but I really think it was a great fucking movie. I love him as Peter Parker. I love the origin story, how it's told, and how he gets his powers, and you know, the whole scenes of him learning to use the powers. The web shooters kind of were a bit ridiculous, but you know, you can let shit like that go. He's a super genius in the movie, so it's like, if I believe anybody being able to make these like high tech futuristic web shooters, it's Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. Like I believe that truly. Like, so I think it was great, and I actually like the Lizard's character. The Doc Connors story is interesting, and the CGI is a bit wonky, kind of looks a bit silly, but the movie's fucking great. Like, it really is. It's top 3, I think. What the fuck? Someone in my chat, seen you crying in Little earlier? Absolutely not, I wasn't in Little today, but thank you. Welcome to the stream. Little's like a supermarket in Ireland.
Dude, why were you crying? Were you thinking about?
I was thinking about the moon landing.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say.
Thinking about Tom Hardy landing on the moon with the symbiote.
Oh my god!
I'm never gonna get past this.
That's absolutely
aliens.
Yeah. The aliens were holding the camera, do you think?
I mean, it probably been them.
Look here. I'm gonna watch. This is how easy it is. How did NASA film the moon landing?
Share your screen.
I can't share my screen. There's porn on it. Please, sir, take this seriously.
I'll take a strike for it. Get it up there.
Oh man, I have to goddamn sign into this thing. Popular Mechanic has a whole article about this.
Is it a .gov?
No.
Proper Mechanic.
That's funny. I'll find this out. I mean, come on, bro.
Why don't you just go to the moon yourself and send them a postcard from it?
Here's the deal about the moon landing and why you guys are all crazy. This is like one of the most mind-blowing things. We did not have the technology to fake the moon landing. Like that technology didn't exist, but the technology to go to the moon and land on it did exist. Like faking it was more advanced than actually going to it.
For me, I don't think people are keeping secrets.
Yeah, how many people are out there? There's no way. They're leaking fucking venom, bro. Like there's some goons in a movie theater leaking venom. There's no way the moon landing doesn't get like outed.
Genuinely, I really don't want to talk about the moon landing because it's just.
You're wrong.
There's so much like this is what makes a fucking fantastic conspiracy theories, because there is so much to and fro. Like there's so much shit you could say. Like, you know, there's people that are coming out giving eyewitness reports that they saw like some shit like being recorded, and people coming out in spacesuits and all this bollocks. Like, what do you believe? You like, honestly, you don't know. I'm looking at it with a very kind of like just kind of like, I'm thinking of like what they could do in 1969, and I'm like, I just don't believe that they could send a rocket to space and be able to send back fucking video footage to be broadcast around the world on Earth. Like, I don't think that they could do that today very well.
What?
Like, you know, do you think that they could give us like live footage?
They have live footage on Mars right now.
Yeah, but like,
I could pull up the International Space Station and watch an astronaut flipping nuts out in space, like, and screwing stuff in.
Why is it gotta be nuts, bro?
I've seen them screwing nuts in. I don't know. It's the first thing that came to mind.
Again, this is 2021, like, where they're sending lasers with fucking gigabit internet to Mars. Like, it's not 1969 where the internet didn't even exist. Like, you know, I don't know, bro.
Nintendo just wants Ireland to win the space race. You just want Ireland to win the space race, and that's a What If episode that ain't happening. Ireland can't win the space race.
Ireland aren't getting to space till the year 3000, bro. We are so far behind. It's not even funny. Like,
well, maybe if you guys started believing in the technology that we had back in the 60s, you guys could go yourself.
No, absolutely not. We don't have the money to go.
I feel like the modern era underappreciates how much of the technology that we use today is pretty much almost the same as the technology that we used not that long ago. Like, it's not until the past 10 years that we had some really significant progress out of the technology that they invented in like the 50s and 60s. And a lot of the technology they used to go to the moon and like broadcast it, that stuff was invented back in the 20s. Like, it's not like they're coming up with these new things. It's things that existed and we discovered how to use them.
Sharky in my chat, why haven't they gone back is my question. I suppose it's like a rock. They don't really need to go back, do they? I know they have been back. They have been back though, right? Like, I presume there's been other missions to the moon, right?
Yeah, we've done the moon a couple of times. But like, you know, the thing about us going back in the day is it was wildly dangerous for them to even do it in the first place. And like, we just have like safety standards and losses that we don't accept anymore. Like they were wild back then. They were cowboys. They're like, let's fucking do it.
JFK speech. Why do we do it? Not because it's easy, because it's hard.
Yeah, like they just winged it, man.
Is the story true? I heard about this during the space race. Again, could be just shit that's kind of Chinese whispers kind of sent across the world to us like here, but I heard that I can't even say this with a straight face. So
played actor,
yeah, I saw that. No, but I heard a story that during the space race, the Americans were trying to develop pens that would write in space, like anti-grav. And they asked the Russians the same question, like, what are you doing? Like, we've put millions into development and, you know, research to try and develop these pens that would be able to write in space, like, you know, and the ink not come off the page or whatever. And the Russians just turned around and said, we just use pencils.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that true?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Wow.
But
that's amazing.
What if you guys sign a contract while you're in space? It's not going to work. Russians are so dumb, dude.
You know, I don't know if it's
I love that answer, Jokey.
or not.
That's fantastic, dude. That's such a great response to that story. What if they got to sign a contract?
They have pins that they made that you could write underwater. I don't know if it was developed by the military, but I know I used it when I was in the military. They have pins that you can write underwater and like waterproof stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past them to put millions into trying to be like space pin.
And like, obviously millions in the 60s is hundreds of millions today. Like, if you were to...
Oh yeah, they have like $1 trillion budget, bro. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, I know.
Drop in the bucket.
And all that stuff was all that stuff was military grade, made by the most notorious, famous engineers possible. Like, you gotta have this project like under wraps, especially if you want to be the first to do it.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Like, you don't.
Going to the moon is one of the coolest things we've done as the human race.
Yeah.
And it's the people who are the deniers who like put all this doubt on the people who did it. Like I'm blown away by it, man, because it's something that keeps picking up and picking up. And I think if you take anything throughout history, you can start punching holes through the idea of it. Because a lot of people, I'm not saying this is you, but a lot of people who've come up with these, they're always the people who are constantly asking questions but not looking for answers. Because a lot of these questions they pose, like, you know, they come up with all these questions and they keep circulating them, and like it builds in the bigger conspiracy. But if they go and they research the questions that they're asking, they actually get answers to them, and so they don't go research the answers because a lot of the answers are out there.
Yeah,
I'm taking Jeff Bezos' space flight before I die. Tell you all that.
Oh, you mean the almost astronaut who almost went into space, Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, yeah, the guy who just took a really high airplane.
No, the whole flat earth thing really scares me. That people genuinely believe that, and I actually know somebody who is a full blown flat earther, and I'm like, dude, have you not seen like everything that you say to him? Like, it's like, do you remember when that dude Felix something jumped from the edge of space for Red Bull?
The stratosphere, yeah.
Oh, dude, that was so fucking cool. But it's like, that was recorded, and you see him get out of the pod, and he's standing like 120,000 feet in the air, and you see the curvature of the Earth, and it's like, what do you say there? It's like, oh, well, look, you know, the lenses are curved. Like, it's like, what? It's like, what are you talking about?
You can look at people on the International Space Station right now, which is, I think, crazy and nutty, because you can look up sometimes and see that thing floating by, and you're just like, what?
Yeah. But like a friend of mine was like talking to this dude, like, oh, my older sister works on private jets that actually go like above 30,000 feet, and she's looked out the window and actually seen the slight curvature of the Earth because she's like 45 up, like, you know, and you know, it's just like, oh yeah, no, it's just it's illusions with the plain glass and stuff. I'm just like, shut the fuck up, bro. Yeah. Like, seriously, stop talking. Like,
it's like, okay, buddy, like they're paying the extra money to give you that little feature.
Yeah. Just keep you in the Matrix.
I know a few people growing up who legitimately wore hats and had tinfoil on the inside of their hats.
Wow.
Like, there's people out there that believe that stuff. There's people out there that believe that this, not to get too much into current events, that this vaccine is like putting trackers in us and magnets stick to your arm.
Yeah, the 5G stuff is just hilarious, dude. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck are people talking about? Like, it's crazy.
I saw a joke short of that. So there was this vet, and they put their arm out, and it has the number on their collar, or the shoulder.
Yeah.
They stuck a tracker underneath and just went over it just as a joke.
Oh, for God's sake!
They were like, this is where I got stuck.
See that though and believe it.
Yeah, they'll be like, see, but they were just joking. They said afterwards, they're like, yeah, we just put a tracker underneath.
Yeah. Like, fucking people are idiots, bro. They really are. Like, it's just the thing for me with the whole space thing is just the timing. I just think that, like, you know, it's just, it was like just so long ago, you know. It's just like hard to believe that was actually done so long ago, you know. That's the only thing that I find hard to believe about that, because, like, I think there's a lot involved in going to space today, you know.
Well, so you have to think about it this way too, Finto, is if they did it back then in 1969, and it's now what, 50 years later, and like 52 years later, we're barely getting into the point of doing like enterprise type or commercial flights to space. Like, now we're getting there because it's getting safer. Going out into space is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, I think they just took unnecessary risk to make it happen back in the day.
Yeah. And so half a century later, they're like, oh, we can actually like try to make this work. Mm-hmm. We can make space hotels.
Look at like Challenger. Look at the catastrophes we had since they went to the moon. It just became like, they were like, at that point, they were like, hey, we made it there, and now we're losing, like, they lost like a civilian school teacher. Like, we're losing civilians. We're losing people that, like, we can't really keep justifying a body count here. You know? Yeah.
And, you know, not to be too, because lives are, like, you know, the most important thing and the most precious thing, but there wasn't a reason to be on the moon. There's no resources they can extract from it. There's no real experiments they can do that really give them any benefit that causes.
There's no money to be made.
Right, to consider the risk. There's no risk to reward there. Like, it's nice to go there. They can do experiments and learn some stuff, but like the risk to go there versus the reward to get it is non-existent. Yeah. The reason we're going back there now is because now they want to use it as a staging area to go off to the Mars. They want to have a moon kind of base area to stage
pit stop
Mars flight. So now we have a reason to go back, and now that's why money is being poured back into establish a moon presence.
That makes sense. Obviously, you use it as like a kind of space station, and then you use it as instead of like doing one trip,
refuel.
It's like a refuel station or whatever. That's crazy to think that like that will be very much a reality
in our lifetime.
In our lifetime before we die, like that, like you could definitely,
at
a reasonable cost, go
travel in space and have that kind of like extend your life, because like I don't know if you guys get into too much nerdy stuff where you talk about when you travel at the speed of light, like for every hour that you are traveling, it's like a year real time where you came from, like stuff like that. Like, what? Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't like what's going on right now here on Earth. I'm just gonna peace out for like 10 minutes in outer space, and when I come back,
you better have fixed everything.
my offspring, my great grandson better have riches for me to come back to.
Sharky asked a question in the chat. I want to bring it up in case you didn't read it, but it's like, is it at all possible somebody could travel ahead in time, get the technology to bring back in time to the 60s for them to land on the moon? Honestly, bro, if that was real, I would be like the happiest person on Earth. Like, I think that would be the coolest fucking shit ever. Just as like a sci-fi fan, like, if they had evidence of like space travel or time travel or something like that, I think that would just be amazing. Like, but again, I just don't believe any of it, obviously. But it would just be incredible.
Imagine if there was time travel. Why isn't there a Florida Man story? A Florida man travels back and fucks everything.
Sharky is willing to believe that we have the technology for space travel, but not moon landing or time travel. Like, we can bend this time and go into the future, but we can't go to the moon.
I don't know, bro. I love the idea of like a previous like human civilization figured out before the last ice age how to like time travel and stuff, fucked off out of the planet before it kind of fucked up, and then we're here after the reset. I like that. To me, like, makes sense, as ridiculous as that sounds. Like, I could see that something like that happening, because obviously the Earth gets to a stage of a reset, we don't know what came before, and then the leaps in like the human evolution just don't make any sense, because there's such a leap forward in thinking. And it's like, was that potentially a revisit or something?
I like thinking about the current multiverse theory about when they activated the hydrogen collider and they made the God particle or whatever. That's why we have Mandela effect, is because we branched off into a multiverse at that point, and the Mandela effect is people remembering things from parts of a multiverse that we're no longer a part of.
I love that. Did we lose them? Hello?
I have mass false memories.
Sorry, guys.
The stream went down.
I lost you for a second. I'm back.
You're back, Finto.
I'm back.
Kind of speaking to Finto's point about like past civilization, here's like a thought thing I was going down like a little bit ago, a couple years ago, that like really freaked me out. Is like this, like if we fail as a civilization, like if we collapse, like there's no do-over. Like the amount of resources that we're using, especially when it comes to like fossil fuels and stuff, like there's not another civilization that can really come along and do it again. Like if we fail on this one, like that's pretty much it. Like we used it. Like it's done.
The crazy thing is every civilization before us has failed. Like Rome. Like you look at all these civilizations that like ruled the entire half the earth and had all the wealth of the world, and they still couldn't make it work. And then you're just like, and if we fail, we don't get another chance.
It's catastrophic.
Yeah. It's like, I wonder, did something happen, like where, for example, there was like a much more advanced human race to what we are right now, and they got to the point of no return and they had to leave, and then came back to kind of help rebuild after. But it's like, if that was to happen quite soon, we'd all be stuck here, and we just fucking, that's it, game over. Yeah, that's a very scary thought.
I think that's what the race is all about for this situation now. Is You see that SpaceX is now working with NASA. They're being chosen to like do another moon landing pretty soon in 2024. They're working as fast as they can to possibly learn how to colonize on other planets in the event that we need to.
Yeah. Elon said he wants to protect the species in the case of like he doesn't want us to have all of our eggs in one basket as a species. That's why he wants to.
And we shouldn't. Like it's like
sense.
we're advancing so well right now that, you know, it'd be wonderful if we can get to one of the super Earths or just another mirror Earth that we can inhabit. But as of right now, like we're still kind of, you know, we're working on it. But technology has advanced like so dramatically since the invention of like, you know, computer technology and things that can actually like just think like advancements back in the 60s or like even further back, like in the 40s through the 60s, like you had very few scientists and engineers, and a lot of them during the war were pulled into the war and killed. So we were short our own like scientists and engineers and like creative, intuitive, like innovative people. And then now that we've amassed our population again, that's why we're advancing so quickly, because now we have multitudes of scientists, engineers, you know, technical workers, like everywhere. You look around, you'll see someone.
Yep. You're right, man. Like it was like a weird dark age in a sense, man. Like it was kind of a mini dark age for us.
Yeah, because the World War screwed us like heavily with our technology advancements.
Mm-hmm.
We probably could have advanced a lot sooner, but because we had to throw a lot of our resources in, it really screwed us.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still screwing us. Like we're still, I think, lowest in far as like countries producing doctors and scientists. Where I think we're the lowest.
Well, we're all trying to get TikTok famous now. You can't blame us, bro.
Even our doctors
are trying.
Even our doctors are trying to get TikTok famous now. That's the crazy part.
You see the close up was like, hey, you want to come down to my clinic? You know, you come get work, get your work done.
Yeah, it's like I think like another thing that really scares me is the whole kind of crypto NFT thing. Like I really truly believe, like as much as I'm behind it and I'm trying to get out on top of it to be like ahead of the curve, I truly think like stuff like making like little 20-year-olds billionaires because they invest in fucking Dogecoin when it's worth nothing, and then it jumps up to 20 cents and they own like 10 billion coins. It's like this shit's like slowly destroying the planet. Like, you know, I bought an NFT the other day and it's already gone from $6 to being worth like nearly 300 in the space of 24 hours. And it's like, what happens in a month? Is it worth 10 grand? Is it worth €2? Like genuinely, I don't know. And like, you know, like I've got a couple of like joke cryptocurrencies that are now like getting put onto like proper exchanges, and like, you know, like something crazy could happen. Like I have 7 million coins of a cryptocurrency. If that goes up to 1 cent, I'm sitting on €70,000. Like it's just like you can't like start making people this fucking rich because you just destroy everything that is there. Like society is just no longer the same. Like, you know, you're just making millions and millions of fucking millionaires all over the globe, and you're just gonna just destroy everything. Like, so as much as I'm a fan of it, and obviously I want to have loads of money, but at the same time, like, you know, if I'm doing it, there's a million other people doing it, and can we have 1 million millionaires?
And
like,
look at
what happens to the planet?
And look at how compounded it gets when somebody that's already wealthy does what you're trying to do.
Exactly, at a fucking times 1,000 scale of what I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's scary.
You become a company owner and design the ability to travel to space.
I like it. And then
you advance yourself. Like,
and
you
then
keep
we do
moving
marvelous
forward.
chats from the moon. I love it.
From the moon.
Yeah.
To the moon.
To the
or
moon,
an
baby.
undisclosed studio.
Imagine.
Don't dox our next studio that's in the works.
Oh my god! Imagine it's like we're going to the moon. It's like actually it's just a studio here in LA.
You still see my cat like running through the back end.
Here's Armstrong's fucking footprint. We got it here. Just don't touch it. Don't touch it. Oh, bro, it's so fucking funny. But I genuinely, like, you know, as much as I'm like trying to, you know, invest in loads of stuff and make loads of money, at the same time, I'm just like, you know, I think if this does pop off, it's gonna fucking destroy the world. because what does it just cause the entire economy just to reset back to zero and we all have nothing because they just have to turn around and say we have to put a stop to this. This is just getting ridiculous. Like, you know, you can't just turn someone like me into a fucking, like, give me 146 million euro because I have a bunch of fucking fake, like, digital currency coins or tokens. Like, you know, it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Why not?
Oh no, like, bro, I hope it happens, and I want to have spent a lot of the money before they realize and do this reset, you know, like give me my house and all my cars and everything. But like at the same time, I'm just like, realistically, like if this does happen, it's what does it do to the global economy? Like, it's terrifying to think.
I think this is how rich people have made their money all the time, and now it's just decentralized, and this is how middle class people are making their money.
But like, what I'm saying is, the rich people are going to do the same thing, right? They're like, you know, the rich people are already in the inner circle. But what happens when the middle class actually come into this higher wealth? Like, does it then like deflates what the rich people have? You know what I mean? Because now it's now it's the norm. And like it's great, but at the same time, everything just becomes worthless. You know, if everyone has 10 million in their bank account, you know, like everyone's driving Lamborghinis and fucking like crazy shit's happening. You know what I mean? It's just what happens then? Like a normal house jumps up in value to be, instead of it being worth 300,000, it's worth 300 million. Like what happens? Like I don't understand.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would just say there would be a little bit of inflation, but it's not enough to destroy the economy. It's just enough to basically make idiots of people and weed out the people that don't know how to invest in better things after they've received their money.
Okay, I'm not good with money. I don't like investing. I like math. Well, I'll say every major global conflict had always been because of a realignment between the old era and the new era. So,
yeah.
So crypto's going to cause World War III. Is that what we're saying?
Good.
Yeah.
It's just everything's always about realignment, and whenever you realign, there's always conflict.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Like I'd say in 10 years' time, there will be no dollar, there'll be no euro. Everything will be digital currency. 100%. That's coming. Like, be ready for it. You know, we'll all have digital wallets. You'll be getting paid into your digital wallet from your employer.
You know, maybe the fiat money system goes away. Maybe the idea of money goes away like that. Maybe or not goes away, but you revert back to more of like a barter system that the world, you know, lived on for a while.
Yeah.
You know, economic systems always, you know, they've changed over the course of history, and there's just the current one, and who knows what's going to be in the future.
True. Guys, we went way off there, but I loved it. It was a great conversation.
Oh, it was great.
It was fantastic. I loved it.
I didn't know a throwaway comment would lead to that.
No, that was brilliant. I'm going to clip the whole conversation out as a separate thing. I think it'd be fantastic to throw it up as its own thing as well. Like, it'd be great.
Marvelous conspiracies.
That was our real cast.
Yeah, that was like, that was us in Earth. That was the Earth 1 conversation, you know, because like Earth 1 is like our reality, right? Am I right, Alex? So we're Earth 1. So the 616 is the
we're
MCU.
like the prime Earth.
We're prime. So we're Earth 1. So Earth. I'm feeling like I might call this YouTube like Earth 1 chats or something like that. I don't know.
That's a little presumptuous of us. Oh yeah, we're Earth 1.
Especially since we're talking about the moon.
Imagine, we're number 2, and Earth 1's like, fucking cheeky these guys.
Hey, listen, I'd say we're Earth 4 at least.
While we're talking about space, actually, I just want to bring up one thing I heard about Star Wars. So apparently, you know, the dude who plays Han in Fast 9, he did an interview, obviously in a promo tour for Fast and Furious 9. He was asked about, because he's going to be in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and he was speaking about how, you know, he grew up with Star Wars. He would dress up as a Jedi every Halloween, or Darth Vader or something like that. And he turned around in the middle of his interview and said, so my character on the show has a lightsaber. And he's like, and when I was like filming the show, I could not believe that I was holding a real lightsaber. And you want to see the girl who was doing the interview, she kind of sits forward in the chair and goes, oh wow, really? Like, you can see she's like, oh my god, this is gonna go viral. I have a fucking piece of like juicy gossip. Like, so he obviously should not have spoke about that, but now there's been a bunch of rumors that had come out like in the last couple of weeks saying he was going to play an Inquisitor, and now it's like everyone's like, oh my god, he's definitely the fifth brother in as an Inquisitor in Obi-Wan. Like, which is just crazy because he's obviously saying, like, you know, and he's like, you know, oh, it was amazing for me. You know, I got to stand around on set and see Darth Vader in real life and all. And it's like, bro, you are like letting secrets out like crazy in the middle of an interview. I'd say Disney are fucking freaking out, like, because now it's like, now we know he's either a Jedi or a Sith. Like, he has a lightsaber. He has the Force, like, you know, or he's been trained as an Inquisitor. Ah, it's just it's crazy, dude. It's fucking crazy. And I'm very excited for the show. Because I think we're getting Inquisitors, we could potentially get Cal Kestis, and I think it's gonna link in with that game. I think for sure.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be replaying that game soon.
Born ready, bro. Yeah, I think I might Game Plus it for sure. I'd love to play it again. I just think it's just so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Get a mod or something and play as the Mandalorian with the Darksaber.
So good.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Guys, have you got anything else to bring up, or are we done for the night?
That is it in my boat.
Yeah.
It looks like we need to watch Age of Ultron for next week.
Ooh, yeah. That's actually, that'll be fun because we'll get a bit of we'll get like early Wanda and.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I watched it right before WandaVision came out, actually, because Michelle really didn't remember where she came from.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is where she came from. This is the brother that I think we had been an episode in or two, and I was like, this is the brother they're referencing.
Yeah.
What's after Age of Ultron?
Ant-Man. It's Avengers Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, and then Civil War.
Yeah. That's right. Because obviously,
do you think
Ant-Man's in Civil War, so that makes sense.
Do you think it'd be too much to tack on another? I kind of like watching 2 movies in addition to the.
Yeah, I think we should do 2 because we know What If most likely. We can't guarantee What If's gonna fill in a certain amount of time.
That's fair. Yeah, I think 2 movies. I think 2 movies is fine. I think if we do Ultron and Ant-Man for next week.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's Civil War and Homecoming, and we're gonna be coming up on the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What's fitting for Ultron is the fact that since in the new trailer that we saw,
there's Ultron. There's Ultron in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
very
actually
fitting.
It's gonna fit. Yeah. I think we're doing fantastic work. Do you remember we lined up? What did we line up perfectly as well? Was it the? I can't remember what it was. We lined up something.
I think it was Avengers.
It was Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
We lined up the release.
We lined that up, and then we did Loki. Loki in going into the show.
Yeah, it was Loki going into Avengers 1, and because that would have been the version that went into Loki. Yeah. that was perfect. That really was perfect. All right, guys. Yep, we have the agenda for next week. Keep an eye out for some good news. I kind of like talking about like rumors and shit at the end. So if you hear anything good, bring it up. Like, obviously nothing too spoiler heavy or whatever. But
actually, I have a little tidbit from Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh yes.
Apparently he said that it's silly to look deeper at his tweets that has led to many to anticipate his return as Kingpin in the MCU, and he also stated, "I appreciate the fandom."
He's a fucking troll. He's a troll. He knows exactly what he's doing, dude. He knows exactly what he's doing. Every single tweet he likes is just feeding the fire, Look, we know for a fact Charlie Cox is going to reprise the role. We know for a fact that he's getting multiple projects. It only makes sense to bring Vincent D'Onofrio back. Like, he is just he's possibly a bigger draw for that show and that universe than Charlie Cox is. You know what I mean? He has so much more kind of value to give to the MCU going forward than Charlie Cox does. And I think, like, I've heard that they have like 3 or 4 projects planned already for Charlie Cox and Matt Murdock / Daredevil. So, crazy stuff going on. Next week we talk about reptilians, says Blake. Yeah, I need to do a bit of research. But yeah, I would love to talk about that.
Gotta save the queen. That's all I'll say.
The lizard queen. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Big love to everybody, and enjoy your weekend. If I'm not talking to you,
hey, have a great night.
Take care.
Bye, guys. Bye.